games headed indoors this afternoon down here in Houston. Middle game of the Lone Star Series. Rangers and Astros, the big hitters last night. George Springer, Joey Gallo with important home runs, but a game that was marked by pitching. Welcome in, folks. Thanks for spending part of your Saturday with us. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nikowski. Talking about pitching last night, we saw two starters really get after it. Yeah, it was a good game last night. There were 4 solo home runs that were hit, 2 of them by George Springer, but Garrett Cole for the Houston Astros, 14 strikeouts. That was a career high. All right, so this afternoon, a couple of good ones going again, and hopes are that we see some more good pitching. Well, Mike Minor going for the Texas Rangers, and Minor has been very good so far. His return to the rotation, first time since 2014 that he is making starts at the big league level, and he was very good against the Astros. We saw a lot of the backdoor sliders. Expect to see a lot more of those again this afternoon. We mentioned he was so good in that first start. Went just 4 2/3, but he was very sharp, just 2 earned runs allowed. On the flip side of that, he'll be going up against Charlie Morton for the Houston Astros. The right-hander has been excellent in 2 starts so far in 2018. A combined 12 innings with just 7 hits allowed. He has not allowed a single run so far to start this season. He has been extremely sharp. It should be a good one this afternoon. All right, you like the pitching. We saw some good hitting as well. Even the youngsters, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Ronald Guzman, both getting in the big league hit column. They'll be the spotlight with Dana Larson when we come back. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Rangers looking to even the series here in Houston after losing a close one last night at Minute Maid. And despite the loss, that game last night will be one that a pair of Rangers will never forget, as we show you in our Shiner Box Spotlight. Up first, it is Isaiah Kiner-Falefa recording his first major league hit with an infield single in the 6th inning. It was the only Rangers hit through the first 6 innings of the game. And then follow it up with Ronald Guzman. Kept a rally alive in the 9th inning with his first hit in the bigs. A pair of teammates with their first hits in their first starts does not happen very often. And anytime, CJ and Dave, you are on a list that includes Aaron Judge, it is not a bad thing.
No, well said. And what a night last night for those two young men. Real thrill, still kind of walking with a little bounce in their step this morning in the clubhouse before the ball game. Let's take a look at our Southwest starting lineup for the Texas Rangers. And Shin-Soo Choo today starting and getting to play right field. Jurickson Profar at shortstop. Joey Gallo the DH. It's Beltre, Guzman, Rua in the middle. Juan Centeno catching. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Drew Robinson.
They'll be going up against Charlie Morton. We'll take a look at his pitch arsenal for the right-hander. And this season so far, 59% of the time he's used that fastball. It's a good one that averages 96 miles an hour. You'll see the curveball around 24% of the time, the cutter, and an occasional split-finger fastball. And across the board, tremendous numbers for Charlie Morton. When you look at the batting averages against his fastball, he does throw both the 4 and the 2-seamer. It's a 111 batting average against that 2-seam fastball so far this year.
So he is set to go. So is Shin-Soo Choo. And we are underway this Saturday afternoon with ball 1. Well, Choo is 8th in the league with those 3 home runs, a .246 batting average this year. He's taken over the leadoff spot for the Rangers with the loss of Delano DeShields to the hamstring strain. One of 3 very big injuries the Rangers are trying to work around here in the first month of the 2018 season. And Delano was the first to go down. Choo, first man to step in and really take that role over. That's 2-2.
I think for Shin-Soo Choo, he's talked about it a bunch. The Rangers look at him as predominantly a DH, but in this situation, there are going to be times where he is called to play in the outfield. He'll do that today, and he'll gladly do it. Feels like he's not ready to give up playing defense altogether.
Strikes out swinging to get us started this afternoon. Well, after DeShields' injury, Rougned Odor hurt his hamstring getting back to first base. That was about a week ago. And then Elvis Andrus Wednesday night took one off the elbow with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. And he's going to be out for 6, maybe 8 weeks. And I misspoke earlier on DeShields, not a hamstring. DeShields with the hamate bone and the surgery to remove that bone from his hand. He's showing good signs though lately, and of course promising everyone he's going to beat the timeline initially set out.
That was some really bad news for the Texas Rangers when that happened. A lot of high expectations for Delano DeShields and playing center field and being out there every day as a leadoff hitter, something he earned last year. And he has been pretty bold about what he expects his return time to be. The experts saying 6 weeks or so. He's saying, how about 3? It's a little ambitious, but you certainly do appreciate the idea of Delano DeShields wanting to get back in this lineup as quickly as possible.
His manager had some real high praise for Delano today before the ball game. Jeff Bannister talking about how Delano plays through a lot of things that, other guys might take a day here. Delano, a tough kid. Catches a corner on Profar, and it's 2-2. Profar now the everyday shortstop with Elvis Andrus on the disabled list. And this is the 2nd game for him as that everyday guy. 179 batting average and limited at bat so far. And backdoor breaking ball just missed.
We've talked a lot about Jurickson Profar, the quality of the at-bats that he has had so far in his limited playing time. That playing time obviously will get accelerated to everyday playing time now with Elvis Andrus out. But they've been good at bats overall. You see the batting average at just 179, but he's hit some balls hard. He's had some bad luck. He's worked counts pretty well. I think when you see that kind of quality put together in his at-bats, the results will certainly come over the long term.
Martin's 3-2 and another foul ball. That Profar has walked more than he has struck out so far. On base average at 343. And we saw this a little bit last night and seen it here again already this afternoon. This will be the 8th pitch of the at bat. The payoff pitch, that's low, and ball 4. So Profar works his way aboard.
We were talking about Delino DeShields and working back from that hamate surgery. Well, he was out there today running a little bit and just seeing how it felt. Obviously, hitting will be the big test and something he is working his way towards. But here he is running the bases and looking very comfortable and very smooth and very fast, as he always does. Gliding around second this afternoon here, early work before the Astros even came out to take VP.
So a runner on now for Joey Gallo. Morton sweeps one underneath the zone. Gallo, the average below 200, but he's 4th in the league with those home runs, 5th with those 11 RBIs. Whenever he's facing the Houston Astros, he faces a usually not just a typical shift against a left-handed pull hitter. Usually one of the more dramatic shifts.
That's it right there. With Profar at first, Jose Altuve cannot play as deep as he usually would in that shift. And this is what the Rangers had hoped for earlier in the season when they expected Delino DeShields to hit leadoff, and Joey Gallo was actually hitting in the 2 spot right behind him. And drawing that second baseman in a little bit more certainly increases Gallo's chances of hitting one of those ground balls through the hole. That's been an issue for him. The shift has really taken away a lot of hits.
Waits on a breaking ball and sends it the other way, foul. We have seen him go the other way a little bit in the early part of this season. We saw him yesterday square to bunt.
And it would be helpful because you look at what the Astros have done against left-handed hitters so far this season. They are using the shift not only more than anybody else, but significantly more against left-handed hitters. And really overall, they have been first or second in shifts deployed over the last couple of seasons. There it is. You mentioned it. 25% of his hits this year so far to left field. The big improvement from a year ago when just 14% of Joey's hits went that way.
He's definitely making some adjustments. Profar at first, 1 out. Morton's 2-2. Swing and a miss. He got 2 strikeouts in the inning for Charlie Morton. Morton, he's a guy who can get overlooked in this rotation.
Well, he certainly can, but he's got excellent velocity. And right here, you're going to see the breaking ball after Joey Gallo had seen some fastballs at 97 and 98. Back with the 80-mile-an-hour curveball to strike out Gallo.
2 away. Here is Adrian Beltre. When you talk about the pitching staff in Houston, everybody notes Verlander, the addition of Garrett Cole, who we saw last night, who was so dominant. Morton did something last year that has not been done before. He was the winning pitcher in Game 7 of the American League Championship Series against the Yankees. Turned around then and was the winner in Game 7 of the World Series against the Dodgers. He did that by pitching 4 innings in relief on a couple of hits and a run. And it had never happened that a pitcher had won 2 Game 7s in the same postseason. That is until Morton accomplished that last season. 1-1. Just a little bit in. He's facing now a guy who has a little experience himself. Adrian Beltre, 23rd on the all-time hit list. just recently passed Houston's own Craig Biggio. This one driven out to the gap in right center field, will get down. Profar has decent speed and into third base. Beasley was waving him, but now throws up the stop sign. Beltre with a long single, and he gets Profar to third.
I think this ball died a little bit more than expected for both Adrian and Jurickson. Profar does a nice job of driving this ball into the right center field gap, and off the bat it looked like it had a chance to maybe roll to the wall, but you see it check up a little bit as George Springer is able to get to it and get it in pretty quickly. And Profar may have made a pretty good decision here. I mean, generally you don't want to look back at the ball, you have to completely trust your third base coach, but Profar maybe sensed something that told him to hold up, and he did. And I think Adrian, coming around first, stumbled a little bit and decided to pull up.
Ronald Guzman, rookie, with a chance here to maybe get the team on the board.
It looked like he took that turn a little bit sharper than expected. That stopped Adrian from thinking about advancing to second.
A little bit in. Morton has not allowed an earned run yet this year. Rangers knocking on the door in the first. See that note there about Guzman. His hit came in the 9th inning last night, and he takes a breaking ball for strike 2.
Guzman's a big guy, 6'5", not a ton of power necessarily. The guy that's looked at as a little bit more of a spray hitter, hit the ball to all fields. Good athletic first baseman.
His hit last night enabled the Rangers to get the tying run on base in the 9th inning. Now he wants to, with a hit here, put them on the board and give them a lead. Check in with Adrian Beltre. That's interesting. Guzman just called up yesterday. Got the start at first last night and again here today. He'll be the everyday first baseman going forward. The 1-2. So Morton strikes out the side in the top of the first. Nothing doing for the Rangers. So now, here come the Astros. 10 wins, 4 losses in their lineup. They go with George Springer, Alex Bregman, and Jose Altuve up top. Correa, Gurriel, Reddick in the middle. Marwin Gonzalez, the versatile one in left field. Evan Gaddis at DH, and Max Stassi does the catching, will bat ninth. Mike Minor, his third start of the year. 1 win, 1 loss, and a .253 earned run average. Lefty working on 6 days rest and misses outside.
Here's the pitch arsenal for Mike Minor. What he's done so far this season: 46% of the time he has thrown a fastball. All 4-seam fastballs for him: slider, changeup, and curveball as well. He has yet to allow a hit on the curveball so far this season. And he's allowed just 1 home run. That came on a fastball.
Minor's 2-0, and this ball hit hard on the ground, but right to Jurickson profile. Oh, that throw wild enough that it put Guzman in some peril over there first for a moment.
Let's take a look at the rest of the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by New Braunfels. And it's Ryan Rua, Drew Robinson, and Shin-Soo Choo in the outfield this afternoon. Adrian Beltre, the future Hall of Famer. You just saw Jurickson profile there at short. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is at second. Ronald Guzman at first, and Juan Centeno, the former Astro, getting the start behind the plate tonight, catching Mike Minor.
Alex Bregman offers it the first pitch he sees.
Centeno received his World Series ring yesterday for the game from Astros owner Jim Crane. Some front office personnel.
A great thrill for him. 1-1 the count, and he was a guy. He was up and down 3, maybe 4 times last year with the Astros, but on that postseason roster, played in one of the games. Hasn't cut the nice ring to show for it. Bregman, meanwhile, lifts this one high in the air out just to the left of center field, and Robinson tucks it away.
Centeno's done a nice job here too. He had a really nice spring training, did a good job there. I think really impressed the Rangers front office, coaching staff, and they gave him that backup job. But defensively, he's been very good. Put together some good at-bats as well in his limited playing time. He's left-handed. That kind of is all those things you want to see from your backup. And he's the backup to that man right there. Robinson Chirinos hit his first home run last night.
Here's the reigning American League MVP, Jose Altuve, 7th in the league today with a .352 batting average. And it takes just a little bit off the plate. All right, TXU power player to watch. Altuve has been a real tough out for the Rangers.
Certainly has over his last 14 games against the Rangers. .432 batting average, OPS over 1,000. Good time to maybe slow that down a little bit. It's been a challenge for the Rangers, and really for just about everybody else in this game.
Does not make the Rangers unique in any way whatsoever. Last night, Altuve got him with a base hit, also walked. On base average is at 400. But base is empty at the moment with 2 out. Minor's 2-2. And this one lifted high in the air out to right. Chu, plenty of time to get in position, and it's a 1-2-3. Bottom of the first for Mike Minor, who played 1 scoreless so far today. trust your gut. Pick the right player and get one step closer to winning $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak in the App Store or on MLB.com/BTS. Ryan Rua takes a strike. What's that?
What's that stand for?
Beat
the
Streak.
Makes sense.
I would have picked Beltre today, which really would have worked out because he already has a hit. So I'm moving on. Only 55 more games. Rule 0 for 2. And yesterday he's hit 150. Bouncer through the right side, and that's a base hit. Boy, nobody there. And Rua on to start the second inning.
So we talked about this the other day, seeing more and more right-handed shifts and how frustrating this is for a pitcher when you execute a pitch, good high velocity fastball, and you get a right-handed hitter that's late on it, hits a chopper to second base, and there is nobody anywhere near that baseball. That's an example of the shift not working. You know, the question you have to ask yourself with a lot of these shifts, and I know these teams do it, it's pitcher specific, it's obviously hitter specific. And they believe that Ryan Rule was going to be able to get around on Charlie Morton's 95 to 97 that we have seen today, which I find a little bit interesting. He definitely has that kind of power in him, but it's been a little bit of a slow start to the year. The fact that they would vacate the right side of second base completely is kind of surprising.
Juan Centeno, and he takes outside. Well, it had always, but it had commonly been the case that teams would shift on left-handed hitters, but you almost never saw it with a right-handed hitter until like a year or two ago. You'd start to see that occasionally. And just very unusual to see that spot wide open. Rua took advantage of it. It was like a hit and run, except there was nobody running.
Yeah, and I wonder for Ryan Rua, if he let that shift come into play and change his swing right, a lot of teams will tell you if we shift a player and he changes the way that he's thinking about hitting, they'll take that every time.
Chopper shortstop. Correa hits the bag himself and then takes care of Centeno for the 6 unassisted double play. Base is cleared. Let's check in with Dana Larson.
Yeah, guys, we certainly want to update the situation with Nomar Mazara, who is not in the lineup today. Precautionary measures with neck stiffness. It happened here on this swing in his third at-bat. And you can see immediately it didn't feel good. He called it a kink today when I talked to him about it, but in the next at-bat, which he ended up running out there at first base, just stretching forward. He said he could hardly turn to look, had to throw his bat at the ball really to make contact, then ran it through, but he knew something wasn't right. Came in early, has had a lot of treatment. It's getting better, but even when he was talking to me today, he had to literally turn his shoulders around. We all know how that feels just to look at me, so he wasn't good to go in the starting lineup.
Had to turn in, probably had to look down a little bit.
Probably.
Nomar's a pretty big guy. Well, certainly good news in the sense that the Rangers don't believe it's going to be anything long term. I mean, that would be just piling on right now for the Texas Rangers as they deal with these injuries. And Nomar Mazara, such a big part of the offense, 101 RBIs last year. Starting right fielder for this club.
I'll have to talk to Kevin Harmon after the game today, head athletic trainer. Because Dana said a kink, he called it a kink in his neck. And a lot of times I hear guys getting like a crick in their neck. So
better get your player.
We'll have to get down there and find out. Indeed, was it a kink or crick, or in which, what's the difference?
I'm sure he'd love to have that conversation with you.
2-2. And this one popped up in short center field. Altuve waiting for the fair catch. We played 1.5. No score this afternoon. Well, no score. Bottom of the second inning now. Our Kubota power stats for Mike Minor, who was awfully sharp in his first inning. But that is 174 batting average on balls in play, 7th lowest in Major League Baseball.
That's a pretty incredible number. The league average is right around 300 on balls that are put in play. The batting average that hitters have on those balls that they put in play. So he's done a good job of getting weak contact. He's gotten good defensive support as well. And whenever the Rangers have used a shift with Mike Minor, it seems like it's working out pretty well.
No balls, 2 strikes on Carlos Correa. Cleanup man for the Astros today. 289 average. Those 10 RBIs, 10th most in the American League. Minor worked a 1-2-3 bottom of the first and his 0-2 pitch. Down the dirt. Yesterday we saw a bit of a pitcher's duel. Astros won that one 3-2. Rangers hoping for a little more of the same today as Correa sends this one out to right field, but Chu bending over right there in position, 1 away.
Take a look at some of the work that Cole Hamels did last night for these Texas Rangers, and using that cutter really well against the lefties and the righties, big part of his game. And what we have seen from Cole Hamels compared to a year ago is an increase in strikeouts. Last year was a career low for him, strikeouts per 9. Now he has seen a pretty incredible bump, and he's talked about the good and the bad of that. It's certainly great to get swings and misses. The downside has been that his pitch count has really climbed up for him, and so it's precluded him from getting deeper in games the way that he would like to. But I mean, what do? Stop trying to strike guys out? I mean, it's kind of an unusual spot to be in today's game, and I think for Cole Hamels, he's done a good job and he's throwing the ball well. He'll continue to rack up those strikeouts.
Meanwhile, Minor goes to 2-1 on Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel activated from the disabled list before yesterday's game. His first game back. And a hit yesterday in 4 tries. He had a similar issue to the one Delano DeShields is dealing with. Surgery on his hand to take care of the hamate. Took him about 6 weeks to get back and in the lineup. Whips this ball out to left center, carrying well to the wall, and back on it is Rua to make the catch. Just enough room.
This is a tricky left field here in Houston. Of course, you have the short porch to left field, and then you have the way that this wall starts to dart out at the end of that scoreboard. And Ryan Rua's got plenty of room, but then you have to deal with that kind of wall. You have the cutouts there as well. That can be a little bit tricky. You have the chain link fence and the padding. So it's not a very comfortable outfield when you start going up against the wall, but a good job by Ryan Rua to track that down and haul it in.
Josh Reddick takes a strike down.
I mean, it's strange, man. I don't love it. This is a really beautiful ballpark, but I don't love this for outfielders, that they have to deal with that wall that just shoots out the way that it does, and then those columns that are in between the sections of fence that cover the visiting bullpen, they come out a little further than the wall, so that's tricky. Of course, they did get rid of Powell's Hill in center field. Got some circus antics here a little bit with this outfield wall. They've reined it in as far as changing what they did in center field. That's not an easy left field to play once you start getting deep in the gaps.
No, a lot of tricky bounces that can result out there. 2-2. You were talking about those 2 big columns right there with those signs near the bottom. Well, they have to have pads on those for the outfielders, but above the pads, obviously, it's stone before you get to the yellow home run stripe. So you can get 2 different kinds of reactions on balls hit off of those walls.
Sounds fun for an outfielder. It's almost like you have to treat it like it's the Green Monster in Fenway.
But a roller first base side, and a nice job by Minor to field his position, flip it to Guzman, and the inning is done. Another 1-2-3 for the Rangers left-hander. Middle game of our 3-game series, and first pitch of the inning to Drew Robinson. Misses for a ball. Robinson batting 9th. As a start in center field. Morton's 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss.
Robinson getting that opportunity now in center field with Delino down. Had a rough one yesterday. 4 strikeouts for him. Made an error that ultimately allowed the go-ahead run to score. What's so great about this game? That day ends, a new one begins, and new opportunities. That's what's so unique about our sport. Pretty much guaranteed to have a game the next day.
Yeah.
A couple of days off per month.
He didn't even have to wait 24 hours. Fouls that one away, 2-2. Last night a night game, turnaround for the day contest today. Yeah, they say, you know, it really takes a short memory in this game, but you don't really have much choice. We're moving on. There's a breaking ball in there. Strike 3 called, and Robinson the first out of the 3rd inning. Well, this season, get the baseball game that will have you wanting to play it again and again. RBI Baseball 18 delivers an all-new franchise mode and much more. RBI Baseball 18 available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone. One away, and here is Shin-Soo Choo. So that thing, kids still playing video games?
Apparently they still enjoy those.
That little fad sure has lasted, hasn't it? Choo taps one foul, 1-1. Strikeout victim of the first inning. One of 4 so far today from Morton. Choo has fallen on some hard times here lately. And he's behind 1-2. Mentioned earlier that Choo was 0 for 2, pardon me, 0 for 4 yesterday. He snapped an 0 for 12 in his final plate appearance in Wednesday's game. Takes low, 2-2. Morton taking a long look in. The breaking ball swung on and missed. Boy, he's had that thing working early on here today.
It's a big weapon for Charlie Morton. As much as the conversation has been about his fastball, the high velocity, the good spin rate over the last couple of years, you mix it in with this really good breaking ball, and you can see why he has been so difficult. I mentioned it earlier, no earned runs. There was 1 unearned run scored on Charlie Morton, but when he has it going like that, it becomes very difficult to hit.
Well, first pitch swing, Profar sends this one out into right field. So Jurickson wasting no time in this at bat. He worked an 8-pitch walk in the first. He's been on both times.
Well, that's what's been interesting about watching Jurickson Profar as well. He has gone deep into counts, but then he's also not afraid to swing first pitch if he sees something that he likes, and he saw a fastball that was up over the plate that he liked as he lined that ball into right field. We talked about that so much last year about Choo, right? Working the count, but at the same time, there's times where he's looking to jump ship a little bit early on. First pitch, and when you're confident and you know the strike zone really well, you know when you can take those chances.
Joey Gallo struck out in the first. This was last night, though.
This was a fun one to watch for Joey Gallo against Garrett Cole. This made it 2-1 at the time. The Rangers were trailing, but that was a bomb and a tremendous play by that fan. Barehanded, reaching over the rail. And he was instantly booed here in Houston, which seemed a little unfair.
For not throwing it back, right? Is that the idea?
Listen, the guy made a great play on television. It's a Joey Gallo homer. I understand he plays for a rival, but you know, lighten up a little bit. You just won the World Series. Rangers are scuffling. Let the man enjoy the play and the baseball that he just caught.
Swing and a miss, count 0-2. Just saw a really fascinating number at the bottom of your screen there about Joey Gallo. In his career, still more home runs than singles. 52 home runs, 50 singles. This year, of his 12 hits, 6 have gone for extra bases, including his 4 home runs. He turns this one foul. His 4 home runs, 4th most in the American League.
Finish my little PSA there. When you catch a home run, don't be pressured into throwing it back on the field. It's just everyone else's jealousy that they didn't catch it. So since they don't have it, they don't want you to have it. Keep it. It's like a $20 baseball.
Swing and a miss. Profile was running, but it doesn't matter. Another strikeout. Charlie Morton cruising through 3.
Stopper. We're going to take you to Boston. Joe Kelly sets up this line drive in the right field gap, but Jackie Bradley Jr., what a play in right field as he essentially just takes his baseball right off the grass. Looks like it's going to be down for a hit, but he gets the glove underneath it. Tremendous play. And Joe Kelly, who was on the mound, has become a folk hero in Boston. And you say, well, how do you do that if you're Joe Kelly? You get in a fight with a New York Yankee, and everybody will instantly love you in Boston. He had a standing ovation when he came in the game yesterday, basically for hitting Tyler Austin. And that's when the brawl ensued afterwards. He pitched again today, and I imagine he got the same reception that he'll continue to get until he starts serving his suspension. Which is coming soon.
1-1 to Marwin Gonzalez, and he pops this one up back at second base. Profar wants it, and he bobbles it. So Gonzalez did not get a good swing on that one. He looks hurt over at first, or grimacing down there anyway. And Profar, with an error, allows him on.
Well, both middle infielders had a beat on this ball, as you're going to see kind of Falefa going after it, but Jurickson Profar called him off, and it's in and out of the glove. And it was a play that he had plenty of time to make. Looks like you can see it pretty easily. You see his eyes closed just as the ball was going into his glove. And that'll be an error against Jurickson Profar.
Now Evan Gattis pops this one foul in a way. Gattis, the designated hitter, batting 8th. Well, you're absolutely right about what's going on in Boston. And incidentally, with that win, they're now 12-2. Now they've only been playing baseball there since 1901. It's the best start in that franchise's history. High pop-up into foul ground near third, and Beltre makes sure to squeeze this one away.
It seemed like everybody was sleeping on the Red Sox a little bit, and the Yankees stole the headlines this offseason with the acquisition of Giancarlo Stanton. And that was the big deal. Everybody couldn't wait to watch Stanton and Judge, and certainly that is something that is worth watching and something to get excited about. But I think people also forgot the Boston Red Sox won the division last year, and they did it with 93 wins, and they did it in a year when Rick Porcello was not very good. David Price was not available the entire season. Well, both of those guys are back this year, and you certainly would expect both of them to be better, and they have been. And they also added J.D. Martinez, and they still have Chris Sedge. You look at that team, and you say a full year of Rafael Devers. Bullpen looks a little bit better. Of course, there were going to be a challenge to the Yankees, and it wasn't going to be automatic. But I think people forgot about that a little bit. And the Red Sox here early on are reminding the rest of baseball that they have a pretty good roster.
All right, but let me ask you this: if you had to bet right now, who wins that division?
I think I said it when I was on radio before the season started that the Red Sox have a chance to win that division.
Well, not a chance.
I know. I can't remember. I don't do predictions because those don't go particularly well. People are not so kind about it when you make predictions on social media, so I stay away from them.
Bouncer third base. Beltre second one. The relay in time. Double play. And so the error doesn't blossom. A 7-pitch third inning from Mike Minor.
Well, nice job by Mike Minor to pick the defense up, and then Adrian Beltre with a perfect feed to Kiner Falefa makes the throw over to Ronald Guzman, and Rangers are out of trouble.
Dudes wearing green jackets. Patrick Reed, Masters champion, right behind home plate.
So this brings up instantly lots of questions for me. Just for events, or are you just pretty much wearing that thing 24/7?
What if I told you he went to Chick-fil-A the otother day with his Masters jacket on?
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
Ground ball, third base. Backhand stop, Bregman. Long throw in time. All right. Take a bow, Alex Bregman. That's a pretty nice play.
Yeah, he's done an excellent job since he has slid over the third base. Of course, he came through the Astros system as a shortstop, was a shortstop in college, but with Carlos Correa there, no room at shortstop, and so he has adapted to third very well. He knew he had some time with Adrian Beltre running. Nice hop right to him, and the throw on the run, and does a good job of reaching in the air on that throw, getting it all the way there. A lot of third basemen in those spots will go with the long hop, but Alex Bregman took that throw all the way to first base.
So Beltre gone to start the fourth inning. Ronald Guzman takes outside.
All right, so how many Green Jackets? You don't just one, right? You got to multi. If you're going to go to Chick-fil-A and you're going to dig in, especially that Chick-fil-A sauce, rarely is that all going to stay like right in front of you. There's a good chance you're going to get it on your jacket. Does he have multiple Green Jackets?
I mean,
right?
I guess I wouldn't think so. No, I
really?
would think you get one, but I don't know.
You get one,
and you just wear it all the time. By the way, I don't know that I've ever heard or seen of the guys wearing it just out and about.
Yeah,
I love it.
So do I.
Because I'm telling you right now, if I had a Masters jacket, I'd be wearing it today.
Well, you wear your Avis jacket once in a while. That's a nice one. Break that out once a year, your red jacket. Oh, so you're in the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Is that what it is? I can't remember why you wear that jacket.
It's a guaranteed win jacket. Only pull it out when you really, really need that guaranteed win. 3-2. And fouled away. Guzman yesterday with his first big league hit. Great chat with him this morning about what yesterday meant for him and for his family back in the Dominican Republic. Swings and misses. And is the 7th strikeout victim of the afternoon. And now a word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
$250 down, $250 a month or less on select new Kias in stock only at southwestkia.com.
2 gone. And here's Ryan Rua. Rua had a base hit in the second inning. One of 3 so far for the Rangers. They've had some base runners. Only 2.
Tough call there for Ryan Rua. Ball looked like it might have been a little bit down, but Charlie Morton has been throwing a ton of strikes. Just 1 walk so far for him in this game, and he might be getting the edges as well. Overall, 66% of the pitches that Charlie Morton has thrown have been strikes. Same for Mike Minor.
Well, leaving that same hole open on the right side of the infield for Rua. Just bounced one right over where our second base umpire Dan Bellino is standing. He doesn't count though. It's not his job to field the ball. Full count.
I think that's an example of not giving in just based on one result. If you have something that you believe in, the Astros certainly have a system they believe in. They'll stick to it. One at bat is not going to change their minds or the way that they do things.
Payoff pitch. Ground ball left side, and that one is through the tiny hole on the left side of the infield. Rua has 2 hits today.
So this brings up an interesting conversation, because I always wonder about when we talk about beating shifts. Now, this to me is absolutely a shift beater. All to the left side. That's straightaway shortstop. Nobody is there. Ryan Rua has hit 2 ground balls, straightaway shortstop, straightaway right, or second base. So he has beat the shift, in my opinion, both of his at-bats. Sometimes in a situation where you have, say, your second baseman playing over the shortstop position, or vice versa, shortstop playing second, and the guy that would look at a position fields the ball, they say, oh, well, the shift prevented that hit. Well, if the regular position player was there, he would have caught it. It was just a different position player because of the shift. It's kind of always fascinating as we acquire that data, who's deciding when the shift works and when it actually doesn't.
I think the other thing that a play like that last one reminds me of, or makes me think of, is when you put a bunch of guys really close together and out of their natural positions, sometimes do they hesitate, wondering if the other guy's going to go get it. Ground ball short. Correa going right to him. So the inning is done. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th inning. No score. Bottom of the 4th inning. Mike Minor has faced the minimum through the first 3. Then he'll have the leadoff man George Springer, then Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve here in the 4th inning. Springer grounded out in the first. He is 0 for 1. Yesterday, a pair of home runs. And if you look at Springer's overall numbers, and at this point of the season, you could do this. You could line up all the games played and look at how a guy did in each situation. You'd say, well, he's had a good season against Cole Hamels. There's a little group in the center field. Springer has the first hit of the afternoon for Houston. But that might be it. You know, he struggled in most other situations.
Take a look here at a good pitch by Mike Minor as he gets in on George Springer. Ball not hit very well, but hit hard enough. Springer certainly a strong man as he muscles that ball. Couldn't quite stay up long enough for Ryan Rua to get to it. But you're right. 3 home runs, all 3 of those against Cole Hamels this year for George Springer.
Bregman line out to center field in the first. He's 0 for 1.
A bit of a slow start for Alex Bregman against lefties. That was kind of his calling card last year. He did an excellent job, especially in the postseason. We saw it. Really beat up lefties pretty good. Just 167 against lefties so far this year. He had 300 against lefties a year ago.
That ball hit well out to left field, and Bregman has the second hit of the afternoon for Houston. Back-to-back singles to start the 4th.
Let's take a look at the pitch here from Mike Minor to Alex Bregman. Fastball that stayed up over the middle more than Mike Minor was trying to throw it. He was working down and away and trying to, and Thinking about, I'm sure, getting that ground ball, but that ball was left up, and Bregman lines it into left center.
So Minor now in his first real jam of the day. Jose Altuve. Men at first and second base, and he fouls that one off. Altuve, one of the better in the league with runners in scoring position. 444 average this year, 6th best. He's got Springer at second, Bregman at first. Infield at double play depth. 1-1.
Green jacket is all in our shot all day long.
Managed to get pretty good seats.
Take a look at Jose Altuve and what he has done against left-handed pitchers. This goes back to the beginning of last year. You see Mike Minor trying to get up and in, and you can see why. 167 batting average against Jose Altuve has been so good in the middle of the zone. That 550, 500, 438 is absolutely absurd for Jose Altuve.
That one barely missed. 2-2.
Take a look at this pitch from Mike Minor. It's the slider that he's trying to use backdoor. Came back a little bit, but I guess not enough for plate umpire. It's Tom Hallion back there.
2-2.
He's certainly a difficult guy to strike out. You see what Jose Altuve has done so far this year in 2 strike counts. 273 batting average, a couple of RBIs. He has struck out 6 times, but it's an impressive 2 strike batting average.
Got it. So they're loaded up. Doug Brocail, Rangers pitching coach, making note of that, but not much to worry about really. We've seen Minor throw the ball real well today.
Yeah, as this one got away from him just a little bit, and as he pulled that ball, that slider, and trying to generate some weak contact or even a swing and a miss, that one catches Altuve on the foot. So a couple of missed spots. He did a good job against Springer, got weak contact, left the ball up against Alex Bregman, and then just yanked that slider for the hit by pitch until it's bases loaded with nobody out now against Carlos Correa.
Correa 0 for 5 in the series so far. But hits this ball out into left field. And that will drive home the first runs of the game. Springer and Bregman to the plate. Altuve will stop at third. And Correa has started the scoring today with that 2-run double.
Take a look at the replay. Here's the pitch from Mike Minor. Good movement on the fastball, and it's away. Carlos Correa puts a good swing on it. Didn't necessarily hit it that hard, but hit it hard enough, and Ryan Rua doesn't have much of a play. Not much he could do there. Just 81 miles an hour off the bat from Carlos Correa, but enough to drive in a couple of runs on that no-out double.
Well, 2-0 the score. Minor with a moment there. Doug Brocail paying him a visit. He's going to have to bear down now. Yulieski Gurriel, 5th place hitter, but 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Nice Fastball lifted out to left field. Trouble out that direction, and it is gone. A 3-run homer for Gurriel. His first of the season. It's 5-0.
This was a 92-mile-an-hour fastball from Mike Minor, and you see where this thing ended up over the plate, top of the strike zone. They were trying to go in, but they gave Gurriel an opportunity to get his arms extended. There's a no-doubter off the bat.
There's a strike to Reddick. Minor very quickly in a whole lot of trouble. Amazing, after seeing 9 hitters through the first 3 innings, but all 5 have come to the plate here in the 4th inning, have scored 1 and 2 to Josh Reddick. First road start of the year this year for Mike Minor. It was 1-1 back at Globe Life Park with a 2.53 ERA. And that'll even the count. Minor 30 years old. And making the transition this year from the bullpen, where he had great success last year in Kansas City. And back to a starter this year with the Rangers, a former first-round draft pick out of Vanderbilt. Rangers tried to ease him in a little bit. 2-2 pitch. There's a swing and a miss, and his first strikeout of the afternoon. He needed it.
He did. Good bounce back here from Mike Minor after the Astros send 5 to the plate, score 5 runs. Well located up and away to Josh Reddick. See that natural cut on the Mike Minor fastball. Pitch had some life on it.
I think it's the first one in for a strike to Marwin Gonzalez, the switch hitter who reached on the error last inning. A little pop-up back of second base. Late on that one, in the count 0-2. Gonzalez, this is off of the case. Leaves the batter's box, takes a little bit of a walk. The 0-2 pitch inside. Now, Marwin Gonzalez, one of the better success stories for this Astros franchise. One of those guys who came up back to his Rule 5 selection. Considered really just a guy to kind of hold a place for a while. And he has emerged as a real star for this team. And a guy who has done a lot of damage to the Rangers. Last year he really delivered some just crucial blows, including a grand slam here. Switch hitter and play him everywhere on the diamond. Two and two.
Well, he brings a lot of versatility for a guy that has done well against the Rangers. 72 games played, got that .279 batting average, 7 home runs, 36 RBIs, but similar to Joey Gallo in the sense that you can put him in left field, you can put him at first base, offers a lot of flexibility in that regard, and then of course from both sides of the plate.
Stays 2-2. There aren't many on this roster who went through the really difficult losing seasons here as they rebuilt. And to say rebuild, the first step was to tear it down, and they dismantled this franchise, and then basically started from scratch. And Marwin Gonzalez, one of the few who went through that process start to finish, along with Jose Altuve.
Dallas Keuchel was part of those lean years.
Keuchel, yep.
And that's something else I think a lot of people forget as well. A couple of real cornerstone pieces to this run with Altuve, Dallas Keuchel, part of the older regime as far as who ran this organization. Ed Wade, those were acquisitions that he brought into the Houston Astros, and really, really important ones.
2-2 pitch. Tony Barnett getting ready out of the Rangers bullpen. So as this fourth inning continues to linger, Minor's time might be wearing short.
He's just 5 pitches away from doubling the amount of pitches he had in the game. He only threw 32 pitches coming into this inning. And there's pitch number 60 coming up.
Well, he gets a swinging strike out of Marwin Gonzalez. So back-to-back Ks after the home run. And now Minor 1 out away from putting this one to bed.
He's looked really sharp, these last 2 hitters. Good life on the fastball here. You see it up in the zone right past Marwin Gonzalez, who looked late on a couple of pitches. There was a couple of foul balls that he was able to fight off, but they traveled pretty deep. That one he was unable to catch up to.
High pop up. Left field, Profar, a long way to go to get it, and that went off his glove. Well, that's 2 today. That one a more difficult play, and will go as a no chance.
That was a tough one. You know, we saw Jurickson Profar make a throwing error. Was it yesterday? At short, struggled a little bit. He was getting under some throws. We've seen him drop that pop up. And now this one, this is a much tougher play, as you mentioned, and it's certainly not an error. But you get spoiled a little bit when you have a shortstop like Elvis Andrus, who up to this point in his career had never gone on the DL. For Rangers fans, they have seen one of the best. It's consistently very, very good. Last year exploded offensively, and so this is a different look now to see Jurickson Profar, new shortstop, filling in at the position. Remember that reaction he had on that throw yesterday where he kind of got under it a little bit? So maybe the comfort level not quite there just yet at shortstop for Jurickson Profar. He started getting locked in thinking he was going to play second base for a while.
Fly ball out to left field. That one's not going to carry. Rua puts it away and the inning is done. But the Astros break through first, a 5-run 4th inning, and they have the big lead. Ohtani takes the mound in the series finale tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern on FS1 or streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And here we go to the 5th inning. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa starting things off. Then Drew Robinson, the 8 and 9 hitters against Charlie Morton. 5-0 Houston. Morton has worked through at least one base hit every inning. Kiner-Falefa lifts this one deep to left field. It is gone. They get out in a hurry into those Crawford box seats, and Kiner-Falefa with his first home run in his big league career. It's 5-1.
And there's a time where I actually agree with throwing the baseball back on the field, as Astros fans just did, and maybe they'll let Kiner-Falefa get that ball as his first big league home run, and an excellent moment for him last night with his first base hit, and now a big one here as you see the smiles from all his teammates as he goes deep in the big leagues for the first time in his career. Watch it here. Hanging breaking ball stayed up and in. And here's the thing about Kiner-Falefa, not known as a power guy. This is not really part of his game and what is expected. He had 5 home runs last year in AA. Those are the only 5 home runs he has hit in professional baseball. That has been it. And he's been playing since 2013, and so make it 6 home runs professionally for Isaiah. 5 last year in AA, 1 now in the big leagues. Very nice moment for him.
Hey, he's not even it's not even been a full year since his first professional home run. It was in May of last year in the Texas League. 1-2 to Drew Robinson. And swings and misses. Strike 3. Another strikeout for Charlie Morton. And Robinson's woes continue in this series. Back up top now for Shin-Soo Choo. Chu's been a strikeout victim both times in so far. Morton has what, 8 strikeouts now?
He has 8 strikeouts. Garrett Cole 14 yesterday. But similar pitchers, as hard as Garrett Cole throws, and there's a lot made of that. A lot of hard fastballs from Charlie Morton with a good breaking ball to go with it. Knows how to generate the swings and misses. And the difference for Charlie Morton, more ground balls this year. 65% ground ball rate coming into this start. There's Garrett Cole, world's greatest number 4 starter.
Yeah,
I'd say probably uncontested.
He might be onto something. 2-2 the count.
I don't know any other 4 starters that throw 99 miles an hour and the capability of punching out 14 big leaguers in the game.
I saw a stat after the game yesterday too that he did it, what, 93 pitches, right? It was a swing and a miss, and Chu was struck out for the 3rd time today. And that was, since they've been tracking that sort of thing, it's the fewest pitches ever needed for the guy who's gotten 14 strikeouts.
I believe it.
And let's see, that was coming off back-to-back starts of 11 strikeouts for him. So you can see kind of amazing strikeout numbers early in the season. Well, here's Profar. He's had a couple of nice at-bats. He's had a difficult day in the field. But an extended at-bat in the first that resulted in a walk, then a base hit in the 3rd inning. 5-1 our score. (2-0). Profar, one of the many young players now suddenly in the everyday lineup for this Rangers team. 25 years old. It's 2-1. Hard to believe 25 years old. only 25. Seems like we've been hearing about him since the Reagan administration.
It's been a while for Jurickson Profar, the consensus #1 prospect in baseball. I guess that was 2011. He reached the big leagues at just 19 years old. Had some injuries, slowed him down a little bit. And that's the thing, you know, I think there's the assumption, especially when you're rated that high universally around the game, that people automatically think you're going to have a lot of success at 19, 20, 21 years old, where there are very few that actually do that. And there is plenty of time left for Jurickson Profar. He hasn't really even hit his prime. I just saw something that made me think about this a little bit. All the booing and forcing of fans to throw home run balls back. Why don't they make them throw foul balls back? Like that guy just caught a Jurickson Profar foul ball.
Strike 3 call. That's a much longer conversation for a different time.
Well, despite the 3 strikeouts, a big moment for this young man right here. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, first big league homer. He does it off Charlie Morton and brings the Rangers a little bit closer to the Astros.
All right, last of the 5th inning, Astros leading at 5-1, and their 9th place hitter Max Stassi will lead things off against Mike Minor. Important half inning for Minor to really bounce back after a laborious 4th. I mean, he's at 64 pitches, CJ. I mean, ostensibly he could go a little bit deeper in this thing, but it does seem like this would have to be a quick one for him.
Yeah, it certainly would help. I mean, he has been a guy that has gone through most of this game relatively stress-free until last inning, as he's able to record that out here in the bottom of the 5th, and he's moving along pretty well. And then all of a sudden, it was just 32 pitches to get through the first 3 innings. The 4th inning really got away from Mike Minor, but you start looking at what he has done this year, and of course the Rangers are trying to protect him a little bit because he hasn't started since 2014, but his pitch count in each of his first 2 games, both 93 pitches, and he's had a full week since he last pitched. So as he's trying to build up that stamina, as long as he is somewhat sharp, I got to believe that Jeff Bannister will allow that pitch count to grow a little bit.
Springer fouls off strike 2, so 4 pitches into the inning. He has an out, has jumped ahead of Springer. No balls and 2 strikes. The Astros got all 5 runs in the 4th inning. Minor and Centeno having a little trouble coming to terms here. Almost got Springer to pull the trigger there.
That's what Mike Minor did a year ago. That was as a member of the Kansas City Royals bullpen. He had an excellent season. 88 strikeouts and 77 2/3. He saw a spike in velocity going into the bullpen, which is not uncommon for starters. And the question became, will that velocity be able to hold? And I think as a starter, it's unrealistic to expect that velocity to stay up based on what Mike Minor has done out of the bullpen. It's come down a little bit closer, I think, to what you would expect for him as a reliever. Excuse me, as a starter.
Springer battling in here, stays alive 1-2. Astros off to a 10-4 start this year, but they trail the Angels by a 1.5 coming into play this afternoon. The Angels off to an even better start, kind of ridden the momentum and the excitement of Shohei Ohtani. Check swing again on a ball in the dirt. It's 2-2. And this Astros team 10-4. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. They haven't exactly hit on all cylinders yet, and they're still playing some pretty good baseball. That one rolled through the left side. A base hit for Springer. His second of the day.
George Springer is a dangerous hitter. The overall numbers haven't been exactly where he would expect them to be, but a couple of home runs last night, now a couple of base hits, and it does appear that George Springer starting to get it going a little bit. Didn't hit that ball that hard, but did a nice job of staying on that pitch and finding a hole on the left side.
He's on for Alex Bregman. Bregman struck quickly in the 4th inning with a base hit. He's had a couple of good swings against Minor so far today. 1 for 2. Now, when the Astros opened the season up in Arlington in that 4-game series, we talked a little bit about the fact that Bregman wears number 2, and the reason why. Ruffled some feathers. It's 1-1. I made a point of going to talk to Alex yesterday, and he sorted it all out for us. So the number 2, the reason he wears it is kind of twofold.
Okay.
He said, yes, I love Derek Jeter. Always thought he was the greatest. And his ability to come through in big clutch spots, make those incredible plays. I've always wanted to be like him. And so, yeah, 2 makes great sense for me there. He said, but there's no doubt that I also use it for motivation. And indeed, the story that he was passed up for the first pick still sits in his craw a little bit. And he wears number 2 as both an homage to Derek Jeter, as well as a little self-motivation. The fact that he was not seen as the number 1 overall pick.
I think that's very interesting, Dave. Save my Twitter feed.
I asked him too, though. I asked him too. When he played in college, you wore number 30. I said, all right, truth or no truth that you wore number 30 because 30 teams passed up on you in the draft. And it's the truth.
So the draft is important to Alex
Absolutely.
Bregman, obviously.
Absolutely.
I don't know, something about getting picked 2nd overall, I think would let me get over it pretty quickly.
Pop up, foul ground. Centeno wants it, and he's got it. 2 away.
But maybe that's where I messed up. Maybe I should have worn number 18 for teams 1 through 8 that passed on me in the 1994 draft. It's absurd. I didn't feel motivated. Maybe I should have. Whatever works, I guess. But it seems once you get drafted, you're in the system. It's over.
Right.
And nobody cares. Now, if you want to look and say, I want to be better than the guy that was first, Dansby Swanson, right? Was that his draft?
Yep.
Right, Dansby Swanson.
He even said to me, he's like, yeah, and then what, they traded him like like that. He still, I mean, he still knows all the details of what Dansby Swanson's been doing. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I mean,
it's a little nuts, man. For somebody, to me, in my opinion, that's not on your team, not in your organization. Like, who cares? It's about you now. He's a really good player. He's done an excellent job sliding over to third base. He's a really good hitter. I don't know why what happened in the draft a couple of years ago would still bother me. It's a little bit concerning.
Well, he made the point too. The part of it is like, you know, you need an edge in this game, and it's not contrived, but I mean, he feels it, right? I mean, he still has a little frustration over that. He said, but he's like, I'm not going to push it aside. He's like, I'll use it. I'll use it to motivate myself to be better, to make people regret things.
I mean, you realize the Arizona Diamondbacks don't care. I mean, I think they've changed their front office since then anyway. Right. They're not kicking themselves. They might be kicking themselves for trading Dansby Swanson.
Right.
But I don't think they have pictures of him around their offices going, look where we messed up. But listen, each his own, whatever you got to do. I guess if you have to find motivation when you're putting on a big league uniform, I mean, that's the part I find interesting as well.
2-0 to Altuve. That's ball 3.
But like I said, whatever works for you, I guess. He's a good player if that's what it takes. Seems weird.
Well, Minor took care of him here in the 5th inning. 3-0 pitch. And that's ball 4. So he hit Altuve last time, walks him here in the 5th inning. And now there are 2 men aboard. And that will get Jeff Bannister out on a jog. So Banny to have a word here with Minor, just based on the body language, you figure this is a visit to talk. Barnett has been warming for quite some time, but again, body language tells you this is probably more about reading a guy than it is necessarily making a change.
Checking in, maybe a little bit of that breather. You see 4 2/3 here so far for Mike Minor, 82 pitches. We had talked about what he has done so far up to this point here with the Rangers. 93 pitches in each of his outings. One of those was exactly this, 4 2/3 against the Astros back on April 1st. A week ago, he was able to throw 6 innings against the Blue Jays at Globe Life Park. Threw extremely well in that game. Struck out 7, also 93 pitches. And so Jeff Bannister just wanting to check in and see what Mike Minor has left, and sure he'd love to see him find a way to get out of this inning and maybe even send him back out there, depending on how he looks. Just again, if they want to continue to try to build up that pitch count for him.
Well, 31 pitches in the 4th, and now they're starting to pile up here in the 5th. When you were a pitcher, how much different did it feel when the manager came out to deliver a message versus a pitching coach?
It matters a little bit. It's a little bit of a different message. It feels different, and you don't want to overuse those. You pick your spots, I think, as a manager. Otherwise, they would probably lose some of their power, and I think Jeff Bannister realizes that. But more often than not, he's trying to read you, but then also kind of wants to pump you up a little bit as well. I know Jeff Bannister's a very good motivator. You see what he has done in his 3+ years now here at the helm for the Texas Rangers at .529 winning percentage.
1 strike pitch. And it's 1-1.
It's so important. We talk about this all the time for managers to be able to know their players, not just what they say with their words, but what they mean. We talk about a lot with injuries and trying to protect players from themselves. But then it's also in situations and understanding when guys can play, when guys feel good, when you want to keep them in the game. And every once in a while, a trip to the mound gives you the information that you need.
Swung on and missed. 1-2 on Correa. Boy, Correa looks like he's come after Minor here really aggressively.
He has a little bit, and maybe, I don't know if he's guessing or just seeing that ball out of Mike Minor's hand right away, getting a little bit over aggressive. He hit that double on the first pitch that he saw last inning. Didn't hit it very hard, but he did what he had to do. 80 miles an hour off the bat.
1-2. Foul out of play.
One thing we've seen, that's a good example of it. That pitch right there is for Mike Minor couple of the struggles today where the fastball has leaked back over the plate, where he's tried to go in, hasn't been able to get it in there all the way. Look where Juan Centeno was set up, and then look where that ball comes back, almost splitting the plate. Carlos Correa was late on that. Part of that had to do with how they got there. Previous pitch was a changeup, and the 2 before that, sliders.
1-2 to Correa. Foul back toward us. Ooh, throw it back. There you see the left field wall and enormous windows out there. Accommodate the sliding roof. You get a lot of natural sunlight in this ballpark.
I was kind of hoping the roof would be open.
I'm a little surprised. Yeah.
Local broadcasters saying they thought it was the temperature and also that there is a wind advisory in the area. I like this ballpark. It's comfortable. It's cozy. They did a nice job with it. Good place to hit, obviously. From that standpoint, left field, I don't know. Could be a little bigger, I guess. Wouldn't be terrible.
You could make that a little bigger.
Be all right with that. But I think they've done a really nice job here. This park opened, what, 2000?
2000, as under a different name.
Home Run Park, Jose Lima used to call it.
Well, they certainly changed some of the dimensions, or at least the home run line out in left field. It used to be 8 feet all the way around, except to the Crawford boxes. 2-2. And that is down low. It was, by the way, 64 degrees outside at first pitch today. 59 degrees inside.
All those teams that have been getting snowed out. Sounds pretty warm, 64 degrees. Minnesota was, they getting 10 inches of snow today. Did I hear that right?
Something like that, yep. Double-digit inches anyway. Miners payoff. Runners going, and a liner to third, caught by Beltre. Inning over. And just in case, make a 4th out in the inning. 2 men left. We've played 5. Astros lead by 4. Well, I've got 5 in the books so far this afternoon. Rangers trailing 5-1. We look at our progressive upcoming schedule tomorrow night. Rangers will wrap up this series in Houston and then head off to Tampa in the wee hours, and then back home after the series with the Rays.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Joey Gallo showing bunt and taking strike 1.
Listen, we talk about this a lot with Joey Gallo. Heavy shifts. Alex Bregman right now was almost standing behind second base, and I don't know what 33% of the field is available to him right now. And I don't like the idea of him ever giving up his opportunity to hit a home run every time he goes to bunt. That's exactly what happens. But at the same time, trying it once in a while, picking your spots and when you want to do it is not a terrible idea.
A big swing and a miss over the breaking ball, and Gallo strikes out to start the 6th inning. Well, the Major League Baseball Junior Home Run Derby allows kids 14 and under to compete for a chance to be in the National Home Run Derby Championship during the 2018 All-Star Week in Washington, D.C. Register for a free competition in your local community at jrhrd.com. Beltre 1 for 2. Got a base hit back in the 1st inning. Rangers have had 1 hit in each of the first 5 innings. All of them singles except the Kiner-Falefa home run in the 5th. There's Isaiah's family here. They acted on a tip on the internet that he was going to get called up and made plans to travel from Hawaii to Texas. And they got up to Arlington in time to see his big league debut, and then traveled down here to Houston. And I asked him yesterday about it. He said they're done after this. After this series, they're heading home. But he's giving them plenty. I mean, the base hit, a home run.
I mean, you just think about from a parent's point of view, all the amateur games, little league games, high school games, as you watch your child chase his dream, and then you get that tip, and
Beltre blasts this one out to right field. Reddick going back to the wall. Gone! And Beltre has left the yard for the first time this season. A solo shot the other way. And it's a 5-2 game.
We have seen a lot of Adrian Beltre hitting the ball the other way this year. We know he can spray the field so well. But good to see him drive that first one out of the ballpark. Let's watch this pitch from Charlie Morton, trying to go in with the fastball, misses middle away, and what a nice swing there from Adrian Beltre. Just enough to get that ball into the outfield. Did it go into the bullpen? Is that why they're booing? Do they even want Astros
those guys to throw
pitchers have to throw it back in? Are you kidding me?
There's Guzman, and he lifts this one out to center field, but Springer ranging to his right. And that is out number 2.
Going to pile on that just one last time.
Yeah.
If you were to catch that ball, that is a future first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Don't fall for that peer pressure. Keep that ball. Keep it.
Unless he wants it back, like it's a milestone.
Sure. You want to give it to somebody, even better. And then also for Isaiah, I mean, his parents, right? Flying, chasing him, so excited when he gets the news. I think what that really shines a light on, though, very important for our insiders and everyone else when they want to throw stuff out there, better make sure you have it right. That a guy's getting called up. You don't want to send parents scrambling for flights and then they find out you had the information wrong. Right, yeah. Evan Grant?
Well, I mean, it is pretty crazy. You know, the news came out, he was taken out of the lineup, and then speculation went wild. And it was, everybody crouched to such, right? I mean, they're like, look, it's, you know, this is speculation, but it would appear that he would be the guy. So his family said, well, the heck with it. We'll take the chance. We'll roll the dice.
And they were in Hawaii, is that right?
Yeah.
Is that a cheap flight? Last minute? Hawaii to Dallas?
I need to leave tomorrow. What kind of availability do you have? Yeah. And they have had a ball. Rua's 2 for 2 in this one. Stays alive with that foul tip.
And by the way, Charlie Morton right now, 11 strikeouts. His career best is 12. He did strike out 11 back in 2014. He struck out 12 Oakland A's last year in April. That is his career best up to this point, one away from tying that mark.
1-2 pitch. And we got it. There it is. Strikeout number 12. Morton puts an end to the 6th inning. But the Rangers adding on a little bit. Adrian Beltre with a home run to right field. It's a 5-2 game. 2 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. A 4-game summary. One big swing really damaged this game.
Yeah, Yulesky Gurriel was activated yesterday. He jumps all over a first pitch from Mike Minor, and it was a big one. A 5-run 4th inning for the Houston Astros, and it was all 5 runners that reached, I should say all 5 batters that reached to start off that inning. They went single, hit by pitch, double by Carlos Correa, and then that big home run by Gurriel.
So he's had an immediate impact, rejoining his team for this series. Tony Barnett now out of the bullpen and fires one at 94 miles per hour for strike 1.
And here's the pitch arsenal for Tony. That's what he did last year. Lots of cutters, 46% of the time. Fastball, curveball, and every once in a while you'll see a split finger.
1-1. So Mike Minor done today after 5 innings.
5 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs. All those were earned. He had a walk, a couple of strikeouts, and 1 home run allowed to Gurriel.
90 pitches total. Off the plate, 2 balls and a strike now on Gurriel.
So that part has been consistent for Mike Minor as far as the pitch counts. 93, 93, and now 90. The Rangers have worked the rotation to try to give him as much rest. He's got a little Shohei Ohtani thing going where he's pitching on Saturdays.
Bouncer shortstop, and Profar throws out Gurriel. 1 away. We check in with Dana Larson.
Guys, thank you. I am here with some very special guests. I have Kimberly Kiner and Feely Falefa, the proud parents of Isaiah, who have come all the way from Honolulu for an amazing week now. And I just have to ask you, first of all, what has this been like? Because here you see him hit his first major league home run today, Kimberly.
Speechless, but so happy and so blessed.
And you've been on quite a journey, because you have to tell us about the travel plans and what it took to get here.
It was basically about a 10 minutes plan into getting us here. So instead of getting a 8 o'clock flight, we had no time. So the 9 o'clock flight was the flight that we had to catch, and it took us about 15 minutes to get ready, to everything in our luggage and get to the airport.
And you didn't need a toothbrush, and you can fly in pajamas. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Who needs a toothbrush? It's overrated.
Because now you've been able to see all of the firsts, right? The debut, the first hit, and maybe a slightly unexpected home run here today?
Yes, I'm just speechless. I'm so happy. Everything that we went through was worth it, and I'm just happy. Just a very happy person right now.
They have a cheering section of 8 strong here, guys, and they even were able to get the ball, hold the ball up. This is the home run ball. Not even sure how they were able to pull that off, but they have it, and I'm glad they have it. It's a tremendous story. We're so happy for you guys. Thanks for being with.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
That is awesome. Don't throw it back. Reddick skies one down the right field line, but foul.
Unless it's the opponent's first big league homer, then please throw it back. Give it back. Now, you really could have traded it in for, maybe a signed bat, jersey, who knows? Maybe you could go to Isaiah and say, hey, do you think you get Adrian Beltre to sign something for me? We'll give you your first home run ball. That's the other thing you got to think about, is the potential ability to bargain in those spots. But I got to tell you, man, I got some chills listening to that right there. For those parents, and so many parents go through it with their kids, and to think about what that moment was like for them when they got the news. 15 minutes to pack. That's unbelievable. Man. For a 15-hour flight. That's insane. I mean, that is insane. But we'll do anything for our children. And then Isaiah, listen, just to see him go on the field, of course, is the moment when and it'll take you back, and you're taking a little league and getting him ready for all his other games and all the highs and all the lows that come along with having a son who is an athlete, who plays in high school and then plays professionally. That is just so cool to see it all come together for them. And you see, of course, now he is the 5th Hawaiian native to play for the Texas Rangers. But I just love that. I love seeing the expression on his parents' faces. So cool.
Reddick draws the walk here in the 6th inning. It's impossible not to get drawn into those stories and those moments, and just have a little twinge of emotion yourself when you think about what that must feel like and be like. When you got called up, You know, do you remember calling your folks and the
yeah, of
response and all
course.
that?
Everybody does it, right? You call the people that are closest to you, that supported you, that you know are going to be most excited for the news. My girlfriend, now wife, happened to be with me in AAA at the time, so she got to experience that news firsthand, and then headed from Indianapolis to Cincinnati. It was just a couple-hour drive, much easier than having to get on a plane and fly 15 hours. And for my family coming from New York and driving to Cincinnati to watch that first game, everybody goes through it. Every parent, every loved one that has been close to you over the course of your career. They'll do whatever it takes because they're so unbelievably proud of you and they want to support you.
One out here, a man on. Marwin Gonzalez, 0 for 2, reached on that error in the third inning, but it did not turn into anything. In fact, the double play would later erase him from the bases. 1-1.
I wondered too, I was thinking about the double play that we saw earlier back in the third inning. Stassi hit that ground ball to Adrian Beltre and throws over to second to kind of for left, and they turn that double play. That's part of it too. Like, I mean, these guys are your peers, but they're kind of not too, to some degree, when you're a rookie and you know you have a Hall of Famer on your team. That's something I think maybe not in the moment, but after the game you kind of reflect on a little bit. You're sitting back in your hotel room or you're talking to your friends or whatever it may be. I specifically remember I threw an inning relief before I made my first start, and I had buddies that were still in college, and I'm telling about my inning and what happened in my inning of relief, and I said, yeah, last guy lined out to Barry Larkin. He goes, Barry Larkin's your shortstop? Like, they get so excited, like, just thinking about the guys that are on your team, and I'm thinking about Isaiah in that spot. He said, yeah, I turned a double play with Adrian Beltre today.
Yeah.
I mean, that is awesome. Like I said, in the moment, you know, not as much. You're doing what you got to do. You don't want to mess anything up. He said he was nervous, but after the fact, after the game, you kind of reflect on a little bit and all the work that you put in, and he's got bigger plans and bigger things that are going to happen going forward, but these firsts are pretty cool.
Two and two on Marwin Gonzalez. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a little surreal for a while.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially if you get that opportunity. I don't know who he was a fan of growing up, but there's still obviously going to be some guys around, some of those older guys that you watched as a kid. You have the opportunity to compete against them, play against them, see them on the other side. That's really cool too. Some baseball cards you may have at your house, right?
Yeah.
Hey, get to see this guy in person.
Barnett set. They want it in, but a toss over there to first. All right, so that's a situation that I've always wondered about, right? The catcher setting up dramatically inside.
Yep.
You throw over to first. Now, have you just given something away?
No, because if the sign came from Centeno to throw over to first, then he's just doing that to try to set up Gonzalez a little bit.
Oh, just to get in his head a little.
Yeah, could be.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll give it away. Sometimes they'll intentionally exaggerate, because you see him now, he's set up away. So you will see this in a minute.
Just misses out there. Full count. All right, so then does it work the other way, right? It's like you set up inside like that, and if it's so dramatic, now haven't you tipped your hand that you're going to go outside anyway, if that's sort of a thing?
Or you may go in anyway. But more often than not, catchers fall into that habit of when they call over, they call you to tell you to throw over, that they will actually then go to the spot where they actually don't want to throw their next pitch. It doesn't always work out that way because your catcher shakes. He may want to throw inside anyway. So you can't. I don't think you can guess along as a hitter. I mean, you can.
Some guys do, right? I mean,
Without
some
a
guys
doubt.
are definitely guess hitters.
Guess pitches, guess locations, whatever it may be. Say, I'm going to give up the inside part of the plate right here. I'm only going to look outer half, whatever it may be. You certainly can do that, but you can get yourself into trouble if you're basing it on the throw over to first base and how he set up while that throw over was happening. There's the throw over, so he's going to throw over again here.
Reddick with a decent lead. He's attempted one stolen base this year, and he was thrown out. The infield for the Rangers set up for a potential double play. Barnett wants to keep him close. A good 12-foot lead, and he is going, and a bouncer right side. There'll only be one play. That's to Barnett covering. And he barely got there.
I wonder if this was, well, it was 2 strikes, so it couldn't have been a hit and run necessarily, but Josh Reddick was looking in when he took off, and he had a good jump. You got to pay attention. Gonzalez has to protect. Tony Barnett takes that direct line and almost missed the bag. See it there? Oh, there it is. Good adjustment by Tony. And good awareness too, right? Pop back up. A lot of times you're just thinking, okay, I made that play. Well, the play's not over. You still have a runner at second base, and you're always taught that's what they're doing in spring training. All those PFPs, get over, cover, find the runner. Good heads up by Tony.
So now with 2 away, Reddick though in scoring position. On the first pitch to Gaddis, blooped over the first base side, foul. Not a play. Oh, throw it back. Or no, it's foul ball. Throw it back.
What's the protocol again? He's got the old Astros logo hat there.
Well, that's way old school, right?
That was the 97,
Did you
98,
play
yes.
in that uniform?
When I played here, I got a couple of those unis and hats back at the house. Wasn't my favorite of their history of logos. I don't know how Astros fans feel about it, but it might have been a dark time for logos.
And yet they had some good teams. 1-1, Centeno keeps it close.
And once they came here, right, changed it up.
The new ownership group came in here.
What about new ballpark? New ballpark had new unis.
Well, the new ballpark, they went to that brick red.
Yep.
And I don't know, sandstone or whatever you call that. But yeah, that.
I mean, that was probably what, 96 to 99. That logo wasn't that long.
No, it was you're right, very short-lived at the end of the Astrodome days. 1-2 on Evan Gaddis. But you played on that 98 team, right? And I ran into Craig Biggio yesterday before the ball game, and we were talking about some of their history in this franchise and their World Series win last year. I said, all right, so how would you have compared last year's team to that 98 team? He said, well, forever I thought that 98 team was not only the best that this franchise had had, but that they would probably never have a better team.
Yep.
It's like 2005 was really good.
Yeah.
But 98 was amazing. He said this team was better, though. And they won the World Series for crying out loud. Gaddis down on strikes, and that's a scoreless 6th for Tony Barnett. Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. and by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. Great scenes there of Juan Centeno getting his World Series ring. Appeared in 22 games last year for the Astros, hit .231. Was active throughout the playoffs, caught the 9th inning of Game 3 of the division series against Boston. This year a Ranger, and he wants to beat those Astros.
He wants another ring in Texas, right? And that'd be kind of a nice way to do it for Juan Centeno.
Little chopper over the mound, scooped up by Altuve. Centeno retired to start the 7th inning. And a new pitcher in there. Hector Rondon is taken over in the 7th.
And so Charlie Morton does not get an opportunity to break that record as far as his career strikeout record. He ties it for 12 when it's all said and done. Hector Rondon, game number 6. He's done an excellent job. Has not walked a hitter in his 5 innings. I guess I should say 5 1/3 innings now worth of work. 7 strikeouts, 211 opponents batting average against.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, look out, that one headed right for the coconut. Unfazed. Oh, Biggie. 1 for 2 today with a home run. That was back in the 5th. And that was the first run the Rangers have scored in this one. Beltre would add a home run last inning. 1-1.
Well, it's definitely worth taking another look at. 5th inning. It's a breaking ball that is hung up in the zone. Nice swing. And a no-doubter into those Crawford boxes. Number 1. Never get old. They'll watch that highlight a few times.
Is that a little Sosa there? Little Sammy Sosa.
The hop
skip.
I don't know. I didn't see it. I wasn't paying that close attention to it. I saw that they were making a big deal about Javi Baez doing that the other day.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was an ode to Sammy or anything intentional.
Strike 3 called, and Falefa now looking. 1 away.
Hector Rondon's got some good velocity. This pitch was at 98 miles per hour. The fastball has been averaging for him this year right at 96. It's fastball slider for him. And this is a nice addition here for the Houston Astros. We talked about it last night as far as what's happening in the closer position. Chris Davinsky got the close yesterday, and it sounds like, or the save opportunity yesterday. It sounds like maybe we will not see Giles in that spot. The idea of having former closers in your bullpen to maybe set up Hector Rondon. 77 career saves. All those came with the Chicago Cubs. This is his first year as a member of the Astros. But a nice addition that could certainly help, who has pitched in big spots before.
And still has that really live arm. Drew Robinson, a couple of strikeouts today, fouls that one away. Hey, watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Just go to MLB.tv for details. The 1-2. That one's down low. So, let's see, 13 strike. That's 30 strikeouts for Rangers hitters so far here in these first 2 games of this series.
The offense has been all about the solo home run, kind of falling into some old traps from a year ago, which is not how this offense exactly wants to be built, and make it now 31 strikeouts and 4 solo home runs here in Houston.
And a perfect 7th inning for Rondon. First pitch here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and it's right in there for a strike to Max Stassi.
Tell you what, Tony Barnett timed that perfectly. Coming back from that commercial, you know, you used to do some radio. When you do radio, you try to hit the break, or even for us on out, so you want to hit it perfect. So it's that smooth transition. Tony all over that one.
Very much a team player.
Yeah.
We always appreciate what he does for us. Jumps ahead of Stassi here, 0-2. So Barnett through a scoreless 6th inning. Jeff Bannister trying to get perhaps multiple innings out of Barnett today.
That's been a topic of conversation for the Rangers and their bullpen this year, in the way that this bullpen has been built. The opportunity for multiple guys down there to give the Rangers multiple innings. We have seen Matt Bush kind of grow into that role a little bit. Tony Barnett now out for his 2nd inning of work. Jesse Chavez, of course, is looked at as a guy who was asked to take on multiple innings in the Ranger bullpen.
Ball and 2 strikes on Stassi, who was 0 for 2 today. They've got 3 guys on their roster who can catch. And when you think about the way you put together a roster these days, you want maximum flexibility because you have to take so many extra pitchers, it seems. But they have Stassi, who does some catching for them. Brian McCann, of course. And Evan Gattis. Unusual in some regards, as Stassi strikes out swinging, and we're underway in the bottom of the 7th inning.
I think we've gotten to the point for the Astros where Evan Gattis is a DH who can catch.
Sure.
Maybe that's probably the way. You know, he caught 49 games last year. 47 of those were starts. Caught 413 innings, 3rd most in his career. But he has yet to catch so far this year. I think it'll be a situation in which the Astros are maybe in a pinch. Somebody goes down, whatever it may be. If he's not DHing that day, that he would get behind the plate.
Stassi this year kind of filling a little bit of the role that Juan Centeno filled for them last year. At times anyway. 2-0 to George Springer, who has a couple of hits so far today. Barnett with a couple of strikeouts so far. With the 2 hits today, Springer with his 9th multi-hit game. Oh, pardon me. I need to double check that.
You take your time.
Yeah. There's the strike even at 2-2. He got a little crossed up there. Last night he hit the 2 home runs, and it was a multi-homer game. And he has a lot of those in his career. 2-2, but it has been a bit of a slow start for Springer overall. I mean, the average was under 200 coming into play today. Springer has 3 multi-hit games this year. Bounces this one foul. Count stays full. All right, so take a look at the Ford pitcher on Monday. So this is Monday in Tampa. Martin Perez and Blake Snell. Snell to make his first career start against the Rangers. Martin Perez looking for his first win ever against the Rays.
That'd be a good matchup. Martin Perez, we've talked a lot about him.
Ooh, strike 3 called, and Springer down looking. It appears he knew it.
Martin had a little bit of a rough one in his last start, but Blake Snell, big left-handed arm. That'll be a good matchup between a couple of lefties. Good job by Tony Barnett. 3 strikeouts in a row. It's gone Gattis, Stassi, and now George Springer, perfectly located. And see George Springer there. He knew it. Slider there from Tony Barnett.
So Barnett has punched out 3 straight hitters, and here is Alex Bregman.
Do you think he's thinking about Dansby Swanson right now? Is that how that works?
I do not think so, no.
Checking the box score. What did he do last night?
Well, it's possible, right?
Oh.
Not likely, but possible. 1 ball and 1 strike on Bregman.
That's some bad news. Dansby Swanson 3 for 6 today. A couple of RBIs, a couple of runs scored. Crazy game. The Cubs beat the Braves 14-10.
How many errors in the game?
I'll check for you. It's pretty brutal there, right? 4 errors total. Freezing cold in Chicago. The Cubs scored 9 runs in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, I heard a manager the other day talking about the cold weather, referring to the baseball as a cue ball.
That's what it feels like. That's a really good analogy and a comparison when you get that kind of weather. You mean because of the weather?
Yep.
Yeah, how it feels, slippery in your hand. And that's why you'll hear from hitters talking about how they have a non-issue sometimes with pitchers using maybe sticky substance in those spots just to make sure that they're going to be in the strike zone, and you're allowed to blow on your hands on the mound in that kind of weather, but the umpires have to allow it. Both teams have to agree to it. That doesn't happen in normal weather. It can be really difficult to hold on to that baseball, no doubt. You see what the average temperatures have been so far here to start the season.
Comebacker, and Barnett with the easy underhand toss completes a 1-2-3. All right, 8th inning coming. Rangers turning over the lineup. The top of the order, Shin-Soo Choo will lead things off when we come back. Series heads to Bristol. Get ready for door-to-door racing at the world's fastest half mile. The action heats up tomorrow at 1 Eastern on Fox or streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Whoa. Low bridge there for Choo. We start things here with the 8th inning.
Let's take a look at this pitch from Brad Peacock to Choo, and the ball was up and in. It would not have hit Choo. It certainly got pretty close.
Outside 2-0. So Brad Peacock on here in relief, 3rd pitcher of the afternoon for Houston.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job here so far. Game number 7, sparkling ERA. How about the 11 strikeouts in his 8 innings worth of work? The fastball sits around 93 for Peacock, and slider will be at 81. Curveball around 79 miles per hour.
The save you saw there was a 3-inning save against the Padres. Bouncer right side. Altuve positioned well, and Chu is out to start the 8th inning.
Final score of the game. It was a close game, though, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And a lot of times a 3-inning save is an automatic, regardless of score. If you pitch the last 3 innings of the game, it could be 15-0. You will still get a save.
Right. Whenever you see in today's game, when you see a 3-inning save, that's the assumption. When you see a little note, oh, so-and-so got a 3-inning save, you're like, oh, he mopped up the last 3 innings of a blowout.
Yep.
And in this case, it was not the situation at all.
Yeah, I don't knock the 3-inning save. I stole a couple of those and some blowouts.
Well, there's a lot of merit to it, really.
Especially, I mean, nowadays that's like a complete game. But I think it's interesting to see AJ manage that way. I got a 3-inning save with Larry Dirk when I played that '98 Astros team, and I came in a game and was 3-1 in the 7th inning, and I was throwing well and everything was going fine. And our closer was down that day. Billy Wagner wasn't available. Our setup man wasn't available, and he just let me go. I don't think it was the plan. I don't think he was necessarily going to let it happen that way. I wasn't looked at as a closer, and I think with Peacock, he certainly has the ability. He's also started. But if a guy's throwing well and he's locked in and you like your matchups and the game is close, it felt a little bit more like an instinct choice from AJ Hinch, who we know certainly with this organization, a lot of their decisions are based on data. But at the same time, if you have a chance to close out a game and the guy seems locked in, let him do it.
Yeah, I think they do use a lot of analytics, and yet I do think that they trust AJ Hinch in situations to go with, if you want to call it, his gut.
You have to. I think you have to. There's no way in any situation where it works, in my opinion, where you completely take that away from a manager. We know where analytics are. We know where matchups and decisions are made. But those numbers that they throw out there are not 100% of the time.
Profar sends this one down the right field line and toward the right field corner, and it drops in for a fair ball. Reddick has a very good arm, fires it back into second, but Profar dives in with a double.
Three times on base now for Jurickson Profar. Second hit of the game. He also had a walk back in the 1st inning, and there's that Jurickson Profar smile. And this is a big hit here in the 8th inning off of Peacock. Fastball located in. Looked like that's where they wanted it, but Jurickson Profar showing that he can turn on that. A nice play there by Josh Reddick to get this ball in quickly, but not even nearly in time to have a shot at Profar.
There you go, a runner in scoring position for Joey Gallo. But I think Bruce Bochy in San Francisco, I think what AJ Hinch did here last year, some good examples in recent years of organizations that let the manager make some decisions on the fly that might even contradict what the analytics sometimes say.
Of course, well, think about it, right? You put a guy in a certain position, say defensively, and you're doing that because 80% of the time this hitter hits the ball on the ground with this kind of hitter in this area, and that's why we put him there. It's not 100. It's never 100. And there may be certain times that you need your manager to go on instinct, or it could be about matchups. And you're saying, well, this reliever is not the best matchup, but you know what? He is sharp today. He's locked in. I want to keep his confidence high. I think he can get this out for me. You have to give your manager that freedom. I can't imagine any big league manager that would enjoy managing under those circumstances, because you know what, when it goes wrong, they don't say the analytical department had it wrong. The headline is the manager blew it. The manager made the wrong decision. The manager is the one that gets fired, and so you have to make sure you give him, I think, some freedom. Otherwise, what's the point of him being there?
Well, so that's the reason I bring it up. I feel like Dave Roberts was hamstrung to some degree in the World Series. I felt like the Dodgers managed by the numbers almost, or perhaps even exclusively, to the point where there were some decisions made that to me didn't always really match what I was seeing.
The Rich Hill situation is a perfect example of that. Rich Hill had 2 starts, and both times they would not let him go around the order 3 times. Right, and Alex Bregman, we just talked about it earlier, great against lefties. They wanted to get him out of there. I get that decision, but he was so locked in that first game, and they ended up blowing that game and losing it. Now, they did it twice. It worked out once. And they can come back and say, well, we played in Game 7 of the World Series last year.
I get it.
And that's a fair point. And I think it's legitimate. But I'm with you. I think that Dave Roberts is all the way on board with what they're doing. You have to be all the way on board. But you start to wonder sometimes, does that take away from your ability to use your instinct? He's a good baseball man. He's a good man. He's great in the clubhouse. They love him there, and they should. but you do wonder about that just in general. If you take away your manager's ability to use his instincts, why is he there?
Gallo hammers this one down the right field line. If it stays fair, it's off the pole. A 2-run homer by Gallo. And just like that, it's a 1-run game. Boy, that was a missile down the line. Gallo's 5th home run of the year.
Well, it sure was, and this was really good to see for Joey Gallo, who was having a rough day. He had struck out in his 3 previous at-bats. We even saw him think about bunting at one point, and he gets himself an opportunity to get a hold of a Brad Peacock pitch that looked like a slider that was in and a little bit flat, and Joey Gallo was just hoping that this ball would stay fair, and it did, right off the pole, and that is a 2-run home run, the first non-solo home run for the Rangers in this series, but their 5th overall.
So Gallo with 5 home runs and now 13 RBIs, among the top 5 in the league in both categories. He has been shuffled around the lineup, and he's not off to the start that he wanted, and yet those numbers are still accumulating for the big fella. Boy, what a big hit that is. Well, Peacock got a visit, but he stays in the game. Joe Smith has been warming up in their bullpen. Here's Beltre, and a breaking ball misses in. 5-4. That one catches a corner. Out of Southwest Airlines. Live look into the bullpen. There is Smith. 1-2 now on Beltre.
We saw him in last night's game. He threw just 8 pitches in that outing, so a non-issue in that regard. This will be interesting. This is where the Rangers certainly have an advantage with all the lefties in their lineup, and they're staggered today. So you have Beltre right now, Guzman, lefty on deck, Rue with a righty, then Centeno after that. So a lot of left-right mix here for the Rangers, which does make it a little bit of a challenge. The Astros right now do not have a lefty in their bullpen. Now they have some righties with good numbers against left-handed hitters, but Tony Sipp, their lone lefty, is on the DL right now.
Off the plate, full count. And the fans here getting a little restless. 40,679 on hand. And they have enjoyed the lead all afternoon. You can hear him kind of fussing a little bit.
It's a good crowd here.
Beltre lifts this one into short center field. Springer coming on. 2 away. We've talked a lot about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and his big week. And how about this guy, Ronald Guzman, coming up? 0 for 3 today. Got his first big league hit yesterday in the 9th inning. And he told me today his family watching back home in the Dominican. Lots of phone calls for him. Called his dad. His dad got very emotional. Then he started telling me the story. He's like, you know, my dad used to hold my hand when I was 3 years old and walk me over to the yard every day to play. And it was all he could do to hold it back today. And then told me about his grandpa, Perpetuating Cepeda, who was a real inspiration for him. He told him when he was 11 years old that he was going to bring him over for his big league debut to the United States. But his grandfather said, I'm not coming. Not interested. He came here years ago, apparently on a business deal. Something went awry, didn't like it. He's like, I'm never going back.
Wow.
So he's staying home. He says, I'll watch it on TV. 2-1. Now here he is, Guzman, in the 8th inning, with a chance to deliver a very big hit here. 1-run game. That one just does sneak in.
Nice, well-located fastball down and in, catching the corner at 94 miles an hour.
There's a swing, and that ball hit well. Down the line, into the corner. Gone! A home run! And the rookie has tied the game.
You got to be kidding me with what has happened in this game with Rangers rookies. First, it's Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hitting his first big league home run, and now Ronald Guzman does the same. Both of these guys got their first big league hits yesterday in their first starts, and now both of them homer, and both of them not necessarily known as power prospects. Good hitters, but power not necessarily their greatest strength, but they show it here, and that smile tells you everything you need to know about how Ronald Guzman is feeling right now. That is fantastic, and maybe even more importantly, the Rangers have just tied this game up as Guzman goes down to get the off-speed pitch and lines it out to right field.
Welcome back and goodbye. Ground ball is short. Joe Smith ends the inning. Grandpa Percio Cepeda celebrating in the Dominican. It's 5-5.
We got a new ball game here in the bottom of the 8th inning, thanks to that man right there. It is tied 5-5. But first, we're going to go back to Joey Gallo's 2-run shot. He gets this pitch in off the plate, and you see Joey Gallo doing what he can to keep that ball fair, and he does. Check out the exit velocity to 112 miles an hour, projected distance of nearly 380 feet. And then Ronald Guzman goes down and gets himself an off-speed pitch, also out of the strike zone. And for Guzman, 95 miles an hour and 340 feet for his first big league home run. But not only did he hit one, it came in a huge spot to tie this game. And we are in the bottom of the 8th, and Matt Bush is now on for the Rangers.
Well, Bush, you'll see the 3, 4, and 5 hitters in this 8th inning. Power fastball, and then a good breaking ball. Altuve is hit by a pitch. He's also walked. It's been a while, though, since he has been at the plate. His last plate appearance was in the 5th inning. I don't know that he swung the bat since the 1st.
Part of that is thanks to the great work of Tony Barnett, who did a good job of keeping the Astros at bay. He faced 7 hitters in his 2 innings of work, had a couple of strikeouts, 3 strikeouts actually, and just the 1 walk.
Bouncer right side of the infield. Kiner Falefa is there. 1 away. Bush always critical. Get that first guy you face. You go back to problems. Sometimes they arise for a bullpen. A lot of times it's that leadoff walk. Great to see that ground ball out to get Altuve. And now here is Correa, who is 1 for 3 with a 2-run double. He fouls it straight down for strike 1. Bush trying to keep it a tie game here in the last of the 8th inning. One and one. See Correa's numbers. This early in a season, sometimes the numbers don't really give you a real good sense of what you're dealing with. Suffice to say, he is a very dangerous hitter. Cleanup man today in the lineup. 1 and 2 the count on Correa. The sun behind Profar, but it's a sun that could figure in on a pop-up back there. 2 and 2.
Yeah, it is always interesting with those windows. I mean, they're beautiful. It gives the ballpark a really nice look. But you wonder with those shadows. Obviously, they're behind them, but different angles that you might be chasing a pop-up. We saw George and Profar struggle with one earlier before those shadows became an issue.
Good heat from Bush. Stays 2 and 2 on Correa. Yesterday it was a 1-run game. 3-2. Houston took the opener. Today we're all square at 5. Rangers have scored 7 runs in this series. All 7 runs have come in on homers.
6 of those have been solo home runs. The Joey Gallo home run was the first multi-run home run that the Rangers have hit. And that is what is dangerous about this team. Is they're always in a game that is close because of their ability to hit the long ball.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Correa went after one. First strike out of the afternoon for Bush, and there are 2 away.
This is such a nasty pitch. After you see Matt Bush registering his fastball at 98 miles an hour, you're going to see a slider here. But that one at 93, I talked to him about that pitch the other day because there were a couple that were 94, 95 and acting more like cutters, and he essentially said, there are times where I'm going to try to get some of that downward action, and you'll see it closer to that speed, 92, 93. There are times where I want to make it a little smaller, a little bit tighter, and kind of have that break come off to the side, and you'll see that 94, 95. But either way, just filthiness right there from Matt Bush.
Deals with Gurriel now. Talk about home runs. He had a big one in that 5-run 4th inning and hits this ball sharply fair just inside first base. Karam's out there into right field. Gurriel, not the quickest, but able to dive into second with a 2-out double.
Gurriel takes Matt Bush the other way. You see the head down right there, just trying to go the other way. He knows he's got a lot of velocity, and that fastball Chu played it as best as he could off that wall, but no play there against Gurriel. This was a hard hit ground ball to the right side. And with this game tied and 2 outs, a potential go-ahead run is now in scoring position for Josh Reddick.
Doug Brocail hops out of the dugout. Well, Rangers pitching coach out there to have a word with Bush. Reddick 0 for 2 with a walk today.
You see Juan Centeno involved in this conversation. He obviously has a pretty big advantage, having played for the Astros last year, and a real good feel for these hitters. And they're talking about this right now, which way they want Matt Bush to go at Josh Reddick. So far this year, he is hitting .348 against right-handed pitching. And the question becomes, when these conversations happen, part of it is about how are you going at the hitter. The other part of it is, if we fall behind, what are we going to do? Do we stay out of the strike zone, or do we stay in the strike zone? Do we go ahead and take our chances and pitch around him and go after the next guy on deck, which is Marwin Gonzalez, who's been very good against the Rangers? Those are all parts of the conversation to make sure everybody's on the same page. And you have to be more thorough than ever, because you can't run back out there a pitch later with the mound visit limits.
Gets one on the bottom of the zone for a strike.
Here's the hot zone versus fastballs going back to last year for Josh Reddick. He's been very good, really all the way around. Not a lot of holes there as far as where you can go. Now, at the same time, it's Matt Bush's fastball, not the same as your average big league fastball.
I wonder, too, if the instructions might have been, look, you know, see if you can get him to chase 1 or 2 here. But Reddick 2 for 4 against Bush, limited sample size, but the man waiting on deck, Marwin Gonzalez 0 for 5. So with first base open, and maybe we just assume really attack Marwin Gonzalez. Ground ball right to second base. Reddick upset with himself. The inning is over. So Bush gets him to go after 1 low in the zone. And now to the 9th inning at a tie game. prices, low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer today. All right, ninth inning now. Rangers and Astros tied at 5. The Astros going to Ken Giles in this ninth inning. He was not on to save it yesterday, but here to preserve the tie in the ninth. He gets the bottom third of the order.
There are his numbers for the year. A fastball that averages 98 miles an hour so far this season. If it was a slider as well, it sits around 87. No home runs this year, but the long ball can be a little bit of an issue for Ken Giles. I got to tell you, this is really fascinating for me because you think about the psychology of this. Going back to last year, Ken Giles lost his closer job in the postseason, and I wondered how that would affect him this year. Well, he starts out the year as closer, and we have a team in the Astros that was going to play more matchups, and yesterday he doesn't get the opportunity to close. He had plenty of rest. It wasn't one of those issues. So you don't let him try to preserve a 1-0 lead, but you give him a tie game in the ninth inning.
Pop up third base side. One away.
I mean, which one of those do you think is a higher pressure situation? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, a tie game in the ninth or up by 1 in the ninth. Now, this probably has to do with the matchups as well. You have 7, 8, 9, couple lefties in there. As opposed to, I'm trying to think, we finished out the game yesterday. What part of the, do you know what part of the order we ran yesterday?
Yeah, well, in the ninth inning, it was Gallo, Guzman, Chirinos, 5, 6, 7.
So middle of the lineup. So I wonder if it has to do with the order as well. But Ken Giles is in a kind of an interesting spot here, I think, with the Astros overall and how they're using him. And he's an emotional guy. We've seen that from him on the outside before. And any guy who's ever been a closer wants to remain a closer. And when you lose that job, but you're still asked to get really big outs, and you didn't get a chance to close out the postseason series and the ALCS and the World Series, it stings a little bit. It just does. You're happy that your team won, but there's no doubt that that weighs on the closer from the regular season.
It's always interested me that these closers right there, they're hard throwing, breathing smoke out their nose when they come out there. I mean, they're ready to just stick it to you, and yet they're also fragile. Well, we have to take very good care of the closer.
It's a tough
around the closer.
It's a tough spot to be in because if you do your job, there's a little bit of recognition. When you don't do your job, you hear all about it.
A lot of recognition. Bouncer third. Bregman almost held on to that one a little long. They get Kiner Falefa 2 away.
I mentioned Alex Bregman and how well he has adjusted to third base. This is a nice play here on the run. He catches it on the short hop. Plenty of time with a couple of shuffles, or at least he thought. I think that was part of it as he's working on that grip. And kind of Falefa made that a little bit closer probably than Alex Bregman expected.
All right, Drew Robinson in dire need of something positive at the plate. And he takes ball 1. 0 for 3 today with 3 strikeouts. Yesterday, 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And you go back to Wednesday in that final game against the Angels, his last 3 plate appearances, 2 strikeouts and a walk. Ground ball out to right. Altuve flags it. What a play. Oh my. Robbed Robinson of what looked like a sure base hit. And we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, tied at 5.
Airlines player breakdown, and let's check out Joey Gallo with the big two-run home run. That was back in the 8th inning, driving in Jurickson Profar, who had hit a double, and then Ronald Guzman, first big league home run, and it was a big one, not in the sense of how far he hit it, but how important it was to the game. That was run number 5. And that is where we stand, as this game is tied 5-5 here in the 9th inning. And now Kella is on for the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, I think it's the bottom third of the order, so very similar to what Ken Giles just saw. 7, 8, and 9.
Very basic two-pitch mix here for Kella. The fastball has been averaging 97 miles per hour. The curveball has been right around 83.
2 balls, no strikes on Marwin Gonzalez, switch hitting left fielder today. Hitless in 3 tries.
Kella has not pitched since the 9th, so it's been a few days since he has seen some game action.
Ground ball right side. Nice pick by Kiner Falefa. 1 away. We saw Altuve make a similar play to the top of the 9th inning. Very nicely done. And Kiner Falefa, his best imitation. Now Evan Gattis. Gattis, you can see 0 for 3 in this one today. He was 0 for 3 yesterday with a walk. So this bottom of the order has been very quiet today for Houston. Really, the offense for the Astros, it all kind of came together in one brief moment. The 5 straight hitters reached in the 4th. In fact, to start the 4th, and all 5 of them scored. Outside of that, somewhat quiet today. And now 1-1 to Gattis. Kella. There's a swing and a miss.
Such a good curveball that he has. And one thing that Kella can do with that curveball, similar to what I was talking about with Matt Bush and the slider, he can do a little plus and minus. He can make it smaller and tighter. There'll be times where he's got a really high release point on it and have a little bit more of a 12-6 traditional curveball break.
Oh, there's a big swing and a miss. Strike 3. So Gattis strikes out. 2 away here in the 9th inning.
Tell you what, Kella made that look really fun against Evan Gattis. After he threw a fastball up in the zone for a ball, you see that 97 miles an hour, and Evan Gattis has 0 chance of catching up to that ball, but it was the previous 2 sliders that set that up. And anytime you throw those breaking balls as a righty and then you come back with a good fastball in on the hands, really difficult to get to, especially at that velocity in that location.
Here's Max Stassi. Stassi also 0 for 3. In fact, has accounted for 4 outs. He hit into a double play his first time up. Kella trying to force this thing to the 10th. Just a little bit high. Rangers have not yet played an extra innings game this year. I say with great confidence, and then I think to myself, really? Sure. But they haven't.
There have been a lot of extra inning games this year. You've talked about it. It's kind of interesting to see that trend, and fully expect that to continue, at least now for the Rangers this afternoon.
Oh, the count to Stassi. You could see Kella was a little frustrated with himself after that last one. And misses badly here. So a 2-out walk to the 9th place hitter. And it gets George Springer to the plate. Jeff Bannister exuding some calm on the exterior, but you know he's churning inside. Right now, wins have become very precious for this Rangers team. 4 wins, 11 losses. And they're trying to fend off what would be the worst 16-game start in franchise history by winning in this one today. One in the dirt. Stassi, not real sure. He takes off. Centeno just could not find it. Oh, amazing. Springer was waving him, and Stassi just kept holding first base. Finally got the signal and took off. A wild pitch has him in scoring position.
Let's take a look at this replay. Breaking ball that is down, and Juan Centeno just didn't know where it was when he first turned. He couldn't see it because the home plate umpire, Tom Hallion, was blocking his view, and that's not his fault, not his problem in that spot, because he didn't know where the ball was either, and that allowed Stassi to go to second base.
Springer already with a couple of hits today. And he's ahead here 2-0. So now Kella in a spot at 2-0 where there's some pressure to throw a good pitch here. You have to be real careful with Springer.
He's been good on high velocities. He has 6 home runs going back to last year on fastballs 95 and higher.
Fly ball out toward right field, heading toward the corner. That ball is foul. Right, 2. 1 rather.
Take them any way you can get them. This ball slicing and didn't have the distance either. As you see, that ball was foul and probably a good 15 feet short of that 326 mark.
Most of these fans have held in through this one. 40,000 plus. Bottom of the 9th inning, 2 out. 2-1 to Springer. Again, the other way foul. And now Kella a strike away from getting this thing to extra innings. If he can get them to the 10th, Rangers would have the top of the order coming. Two. Look like defensive swings from George Springer.
Well, Keone Kella will do that to a hitter and do it to good hitters. When you think about the high velocity, the good breaking ball, you get yourself in 2 strikes, and the reality is you got to worry about the strikeout, and so you try to fight that off. That's a good breaking ball down. And a pitch that Kella has finished off very many good hitters with, and Springer was able to keep himself alive.
Stays 2-2.
It's interesting, as much as I mentioned that George Springer is good on high velocity, he's got a .303 batting average against pitches 95 and higher going back to the beginning of last year. 6 home runs over that time, far and away the most of any Astro hitter. He's actually good with fastballs up to the middle in. He's also been good on fastballs middle, and he's actually struggled up and away. Let's see, it could be a little bit of a dangerous pitch at times. We'll see where Kella and Centeno want to go.
The 2-2 lifted to left field. That could be trouble, but it's not. It won't carry, and Rua hauls it in, and we go to the 10th. Extra innings for the first time this year for the Rangers.
Here in the top of the 10th inning between the Rangers and the Astros, and there is Keone Kela, who just finished off that 9th inning talking with his manager Jeff Bannister, and a couple of smiles there, certainly encouraging to see, and high expectations for Kela this year, and a guy who is expected to take on some really big situations, potential closer of the future for this club. He has the stuff, he has the mentality, and that certainly was an encouraging 9th inning.
Now Will Harris comes out here in the 10th inning for the Astros.
See the overall numbers for Will Harris: 6 1/3, 1.42 ERA, and we saw Harris yesterday through 10 pitches in that ball game. Doesn't throw particularly hard. Fastball sits around 92 miles an hour, but the curveball you just saw there at 82.
It was 2-1 on Chu. Interesting, when he came in, he faced the top of the order. It was in the 8th inning last night, and though he did get Chu, he gave up base hits to Profar and Mazzara. Swing and a miss, makes it 2-2.
And there's the quote-unquote fastball. It really is more of a cutter for Will Harris, that natural cut. We talked about it in last night's game. Nothing straight comes out of the right hand of Will Harris.
Chu gets a bat on it, rolls it weakly down the first base side, and Gurriel takes care of it for out number 1.
So we look at what's going on here with the bullpens right now, and for the Texas Rangers, they have done a good job, as we'll see who has been used so far. There's Chris Martin warming up. It's just been Tony Barnett, Matt Bush, and Keone Kela, and based on what we saw in the dugout and Martin warming up, it seems that Kela will throw just the 1 inning. So it's been 3 relievers up to this point for the Astros. Harris is reliever number 5.
Yeah, and all those names you saw remaining on the lineup card there for Jeff Bannister are guys who can go multiple innings. In fact, I think they've all gone more than 1 inning, on at least 1 occasion so far this year. Pitched to Profar high, 1-1 the count. That was a little bit of a wild guess on my part, because the only question I had in there was let me look who 2-1 was Chris Martin. Has Martin gone more than an inning in an outing this year?
I believe that he has. I'll double check for you. You can check on Chris Martin, who's done an excellent job out of this bullpen so far for the Texas Rangers. Pull those game logs up, and he has not.
Okay, so with maybe the exception of Martin. All right, so 3-1 now to Profar. He's watched a couple of close ones. Profar's been on 3 times. A single, a double. He has walked. He has worked the count to his advantage here. And there's ball 4. So the potential go-ahead run is on base in the 10th inning.
4 of the 5 plate appearances now for Jurickson Profar, in which he has been on. A couple of walks, a double back in the 8th inning, and Joey Gallo drove him in on his 5th home run of the year. He also has a base hit. Did strike out once looking, but he's done an excellent job. Looks like he needs maybe a little bit of time to get more comfortable at short defensively so far, but other than that, offensively, Jurickson Profar has been contributing in a big way.
Gallo, there's a mighty swing right there. Homered his last time up. That was in the 8th inning, a 2-run shot. 1 for 4 so far this afternoon. Quick check in with Profar. Gallo, such a massive human being. You look at him in that batter's box, and the box can hardly hold him. That front foot always on the edge, sometimes even out of the box. It's you know, the way he hits the ball, stuff of legend. 6'5", 230 pounds. You half expect when you see him to walk out of the ballpark and see his big blue ox tied to a post outside for his way home. Again, they keep an eye on Profar. Strong dude, and he has one thing on his mind, and that is hitting it really, really hard. Again, very preoccupied with Profar, who does have a stolen base, not today.
And did he get picked off once this year? Memory serves, I thought he may have.
No,
I probably shouldn't say that without knowing.
Might be thinking of Odor.
Oh, that's right. It's Odor who got picked off.
1-2 to Joey Gallo. There was a time that the last road trip when we went through Oakland, where the Rangers got very aggressive on the bases. They have since reined it in just a little bit. 1-2 pitch. That ball hit out to left field and hit hard and over the head of Gonzalez and up against the wall. Profar into third base on the double. And so the Rangers have 2 men in scoring position here at the top of the 10th inning. Another extra base hit, 3rd double of the year for Joey Gallo.
And he takes it the other way as well, which is always so impressive. And you talked about how strong he is. Well, he shows it off right here. Backdoor breaking ball. Joey stays on it nicely and drills this thing to left center. Jurickson Profar had to slow up a little bit around second base. He wasn't exactly sure if that ball was going to get over the head of Marwin Gonzalez. As you see it there, and short hops the wall and bounces right to Gonzalez. Otherwise, he may have taken off and tried to score, but you got to be a little careful. You certainly don't want to get doubled up. So now we see an intentional walk to Adrian Beltre, and the bases will be loaded here for the Rangers.
1 out in the inning. Look who's here. The rookie Ronald Guzman, in just his 2nd big league game. He homered in the 8th to tie it. Now in the 10th, a chance to put the team on top, and a little roller off the pitcher. Everybody's safe, and the Rangers take the lead. Ronald Guzman has driven in 2 huge runs, and the Rangers have come from behind for the first time this year to take a lead.
Well, Ronald Guzman hit this ball extremely well and probably caught a break that it ended up hitting the pitcher Harris. Watch this right here. It gets part of his glove and ends up shooting the ball out to shortstop. But Carlos Correa had already started taking off, and there was a decent chance that this could have been a double play off the bat. I'm not quite sure Jose Altuve would have been able to get there, but we know that's a really strong middle of the infield that they have here in Houston with Correa and Altuve. But once Harris got his glove on it and slowed it down, things changed dramatically, and there was no play to be made.
So they wanted to go after the rookie, and the rookie has hurt him twice. 6-5, Rangers lead. Rua, meanwhile, with a couple of hits already today, and takes a big cut at that one. 1-1 the count. Gallo, Beltre, Guzman. That one spoiled. 1-2 the count. Now, for those of you tuning in on FS1 to watch the Angels and the Royals, that game is available on the respective regions, Fox Sports West and Fox Sports Kansas City. And of course, we will join them at the conclusion of our game here. Rangers have taken the lead in extras, and Rua swings and misses. That is strike 3 there, 2 gone.
Take a look at this pitch here from Harris. It's that front door cutter. He goes up and into Ryan Rua, and you'll see this ball start on the inside corner and finish over the plate. But elevation was what he was going for there. And he got a big strikeout there for Harris with Juan Centeno now stepping in.
So Centeno hitless in this one today. What a time this would be for him to connect for the first time in this series. And he takes one high for ball 1 against his old team, a team that gave him his World Series ring before the game yesterday. And there's a bouncer to Correa. He'll go the short way to second. Wow. They force out Guzman. It ends the inning, but the Rangers have taken the lead. Guzman with the RBI single. It's a 6-5 game.
That we have seen here out of the bullpen for the Texas Rangers. Tony Barnett did an excellent job this afternoon. 2 innings worth of work, 3 strikeouts, and just the 1 walk. And then Matt Bush came in through an inning himself, had a strikeout, just 1 hit allowed, did a nice job as well. And then we saw Keone Kela in the 9th inning of a tie game, striking out Evan Gattis. He went an inning, allowed just the 1 walk, and the bullpen has been excellent here so far this afternoon. 4 innings total, 5 strikeouts to 2 walks, just 1 hit allowed. Now Chris Martin is going to try to add to that, as you see the Rangers leading the Astros by a score of 6-5 here in the bottom of the 10th inning. Chris Martin on to try to get the save here. He's going to have to go through 2, 3, and 4. Bregman, Altuve, and Correa due for the Astros.
He's not allowed a run in his last 5 games. You see those numbers you were talking about with the bullpen has managed so far. Very good afternoon out here in Houston. A stiff test right now for Chris Martin is 1-0 to Bregman. And it is in there. 1-1 the count. Bregman with a hit today. Yesterday, Bregman was 0 for 4. He had reached on an error, but he had a career-high 4 hits in Wednesday's finale up in Minnesota against the Twins. And he shoots this one foul for strike 2.
And Chris Martin has 45 professional saves over the course of his career. He had 22 in Japan. He had 16 more in the minor leagues, and he had 1 in the big leagues as well. It was all the way back in 2015 in April.
Ground ball, that one through to left field, a base hit for Bregman. So his second hit represents obviously a very important base runner in this game.
You're certainly always trying to get that leadoff man on when you're trying to come back, and this pitch sat in the middle of the plate for Chris Martin, trying to go a little bit more down and away, gave Bregman a chance. The Astros in business here early on.
Well, Houston gets its best player, maybe the game's best all-round hitter, Jose Altuve, to the plate, and a bouncer up the middle. That's a base hit. Around second base, Bregman, but he holds. So back-to-back singles to start things. Martin in a little bit of trouble. Carlos Tocci came in to play center field this inning.
You know Jose Altuve is coming out swinging right away and likes the first pitch that he sees, hits that ground ball up the middle. You know, kind of a tough break. Listen, we know Jose Altuve's a good hitter, but you hit that ball a few feet to the right. It's a ball that certainly the Rangers would have had an opportunity to turn into a double play. There's Carlos Tocci in center field.
Now, the silver lining here is that Correa has bounced into a lot of double plays and fouls that one right off of Centeno's mask. Correa has bounced into 4 double plays this year. That's third most in the American League. And so Martin very hopeful that he can get one on the ground here.
Chris Martin has struck out Carlos Correa a couple of times as well this year. 1 for 3, 2 strikeouts.
Rangers have had a lot of success in this building over the years. 48 and 34 all time. All those years of interleague play, now sharing the same division in the American League. One strike pitch off the plate. And there had been years of just absolute domination by the Rangers over the Astros. Last year, the Astros finally sort of turned the tables, and this year the Astros have gotten off to a very good start, in particular against Texas. Martin off the plate, 2-1.
Good job by Juan Centeno to keep that ball in front of him. Correa, a very dangerous hitter. You start looking at where you want to go, try to get him out. There's the breaking ball down in the dirt. Good job by Centeno to keep that in front of him. That is a huge block. A little conversation here with Centeno, Chris Martin, Jurickson Profar slides in as well. It's amazing how rare these conversations seem now. Right, with the rule, with the mound visits, we just don't see these very often. It seems that players are a little bit more hesitant. And I think the idea of teams trying to save them for these moments, where these guys can go talk in the biggest parts of the game when it matters the most, has been a pretty good move.
Well, the mound visits have been cut basically in half this year. Numbers anyway. Numbers just released, we'll say, on Wednesday night, maybe Thursday morning. 2-1 pitch. Strike called. That'll even things up at 2-2, and a very borderline pitch, but it goes Martin's way.
We've seen a couple of these pitches near the bottom of the zone, I think, that have been called strikes. Nice job by Juan Centeno. Carlos Correa didn't like it, and that looked like the cutter from Martin. And that is a pitch that Carlos Correa has been very good against. A .417 batting average against right-handed cutters going back to the beginning of last year.
Check swing comebacker. Martin has it. He goes to third, and they'll get the force out there. Wow. One away.
Ice in his veins to make that throw for Chris Martin. And this is a guy that is very quiet around the clubhouse, kind of carries himself. Not that he stays to himself, but not a lot of energy on the outside, and he didn't even hesitate. Chris Martin knew exactly what he wanted to do as soon as that ball was hit. Catch, spin, make a good throw to Adrian Beltre, and that is a big play in a huge spot.
Now one out for Gurriel. He's had a good day. The 3-run homer. He doubled his last time up as well. And he takes ball 1. These two have never faced one another. Swing, miss. It's 1-1. Rangers with a 1-run lead. Back-to-back singles started this inning, though, for Houston. Houston's played one extra innings game this year. They won that one. This is the first time that the Rangers have gone extras. Gurriel smacks it foul. 1-2 the count. Just Gurriel's second game back off the disabled list. He has been a major factor in this one. Altuve is at second. Correa, the man at first. The 1-2. Oh, 96 miles per hour from Martin.
Good cutting action life on that fastball from Martin. A little bit too much. You wanted the call, but looked like that pitch finished just off the plate.
Two-two pitch. Swinging a liner, third base. Beltre had it, lost it on the transfer. 2 out.
Oh.
Beltre had greater designs, of course, but there are 2 away.
For both runners went back to their respective bags at second and first in Correa and Altuve, and they dropped their heads. And had this not been called a catch, this game would have been over. You're going to see this ball hit hard by Gurriel, and watch Adrian Beltre, and it was on the exchange as he was looking back to second base, and a good call right there by Phil Cuzzy, who was all over it. And he's absolutely right. And it wasn't necessarily any deception by Adrian Beltre, but he would have taken it as a miss.
Well, Martin is done. Pitching change for the Rangers. One-run game, bottom of the 10th inning. Chris Martin, great job to get the 2 outs. He is done. Alex Claudio has come on here.
There's that arsenal for Alex Claudio. Fastball sits at 87. The changeup, just a deadly pitch for him that he uses 30% of the time. That one will sit at around 71 miles an hour, and that slider at 77. This is interesting. The Astros only have one righty on the bench, and that is Jake Marisnick. He's hitting .214 against lefties, so they're going to leave their lefty Josh Reddick in here. He is hitting .250 against lefties so far this season with 1 home run.
And he takes a strike. Altuve at second base. He's singled in the inning. Correa, the man at first, reached on the fielder's choice. It's about 100 points better against righties. Left-hander Claudio floats it just off the outside corner.
That is amazing. 69 miles an hour on that changeup. And the lefty-lefty changeup is not a very common pitch, but Alex certainly not afraid to throw it to any lefty. Gets good speed differential, but also that downward movement.
1-1. There's a strike.
That is something special. It really is. Now you see Josh Reddick complaining about it, but that pitch is absolutely a strike. The previous one was off the plate. This one was not. And you see Centeno with just no movement. That tells you everything that you need to know on that pitch.
So the Astros down to their final strike. The 1-2. Rolled down to first. Guzman gloves it, takes it to the bag, and this one is done. Fitting that the rookie should handle the baseball on the last play on a day where he drove in 2 massive runs. Handshakes and high fives for the Rangers. They win it 6-5 in extras.
A really nice win here for the Texas Rangers, and especially if you're a Ranger fan and you're looking at what's happening with this roster. A lot of bad luck right now with the injuries. Well, you've just seen a couple of young men in Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hitting his first big league home run. Then, of course, Ronald Guzman hits his as well in the 8th one to tie it. And he gets that RBI, game-winning RBI in the 10th. So a very nice night for, I should say, afternoon for that young man, and a good win. And the contributions of the young players of the Texas Rangers continue to happen here. We'll take a look at what Ronald Guzman has done here in this game. We'll take you back to the 8th inning. 5-4 game and 2 strikes, gets a ball, it's down and drives it out of the ballpark. First big league homer. That is the one that tied it up. And then we'll take it to the 10th inning. The runners on, and this base hit up the middle off the glove of Will Harris. That drove in Jurickson Profar, who reached on a walk. And the Young Guns getting it done here at Minute Maid Park, and really what was a great comeback win. They were down 5-0 after 4. They score 6 unanswered. The bullpen was fantastic, and an overall great effort here by the Rangers.
Well, and for his efforts, he's treated with a conversation with Dana Larson.
Guys, thank you very much. Wow, Ronald, only your 2nd major league game, and you help lead this team back to a win against the defending world champs. Describe what this feels like.
It's amazing. I've been loving the way we played the last 2 days. You know, I feel very good. I'm putting some really good at bats, and I'm glad we're gonna start a new streak of winning right now.
You have checked off a lot of firsts in a hurry, and you've got a great story to tell for your first major league home run as you tied up the game with that today. Take us through that at bat.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 at bats, you know, I struck out twice, but I know I put some really good at bats. I gave my teammates a chance to see the pitcher while he was throwing. So I was feeling very good, and I just had to stay on that breaking pitch. I kind of knew he was going to throw it, so I just had to put a good swing on it, and it went out.
You followed up your good friend Joey Gallo in that inning as well. Did you guys talk about those home runs down in the dugout afterwards?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, he told me, hey, see the slider, so we got a good talk about it. It was nice.
You were hitting the ball well in AAA before you came up here, but this is Houston Astros pitching. Is this just carryover? Describe how you're feeling at the plate.
I mean, I feel when I feel good, I can hit any pitch, you know. So I just trying to put a good swing on the ball. I know it's big league pitching, but I also feel really good, so I'm just ready.
Well, congratulations to you. Tremendous. Is there anything you'd like to say to your family that's watching back home?
I love them, and I know they're watching.
Awesome. Thank you. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Dana. What a win today. 6-5 in 10 innings. For CJ Nitkowski and Dana Larson, I'm Dave Raymond. Our final score, Rangers 6, Astros 5.